Get in there.
There you go.
Woohoo!
There you go.
Water out of here, yo.
That's why I was saying you gotta move over so I could get in the frame.
Yo, you are now tapping in with the God, tuning in with the grounded. Yo, Zuko, hit the gong. You know what I mean? Hit the
They
gong.
can't hear you right now. Intro.
No? It's not on?
It's on the intro.
When you hit the gong, they can't hear it. No?
Intro.
Pass it.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna get out the intro.
So we can talk on it.
We can, but check.
Make it real.
I could turn them on. This is your host, the most humblest, God King Zuko. Get ready for a good show.
All right. You are now tapping in with the God, tuning in with the grounded. Hit the gong, Zuko. Here we go. We starting the show now.
What's good? How y'all doing today? So we on YouTube, we on Bigo. Bigo is make sure y'all go through to King Abu on Bigo.
So you
right now we on.
Hold on. When you go on Bigo, make sure y'all search "I am King Abu."
There we go. I am King Abu on Bigo.
All right, and we have our special guest today. We got Alexandra here.
Hi,
You know,
I'm Alex.
she came out here to bless you with her pretty face and her knowledge.
Hold on, we gotta say the intros. So what most of the stuff is like this, right? We got zabastudio.com. Make sure that you go through the zabastudio.com to see and get your studio stuff going on with you. We got a few other things when it comes down to that part. No others.
Yeah, FireNationRadio.com, 24 hours, 7 days a week. You know what I mean?
Depending on the views, depending on the situation that come about. Damn, this side of the camera make me look pretty. Yeah, that's it. So
You're tripping, like clearly tripping. Yo, hold on. It's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? Like, we got a lot going on right now. We got Fire Nation Radio going. You know what I mean? We got a radio. We got a website, FireNation.com. Go there and check out the new Afrobeats if you're into Afrobeats. We just started this podcast. It's called The Grounded. We on Bigo Live, you know, as I'm speaking right now. So if you want to join Bigo Live, you follow me on Instagram at I am King Abu. You know, and we're also running a studio. It's called Zaba Studio. We have a studio in Hollywood. So if you want to book some time, go to zabastudiola.com. You know what I mean? And yeah, we're about to have these interesting conversation with Alexandra today. You know what I mean? She's a fellow podcaster. She has her own podcast. Let people know about your podcast, Alex. Can I call you Alex?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
That's
easier
what
for
everybody
me.
calls me.
Okay.
It's called Logically Speaking with Alexandra. I haven't released it. I just did my third one today, so I'm going to be posting it. The first one soon and probably release them weekly. I just wanted to have a couple backup in case,
Oh, it's always so. From what I've been learning recently, at least have about 10 of them up, lined up and ready to go
before I even post.
Well, it makes it a lot more easier for you to be able to just have consistent content, especially if you see the numbers go up. And then all of a sudden, people asking for more, and then you can just pump more into there.
But I also don't want to get into a position where I'm doing 10. I'm working on 10 right now, but I also want to start as far as editing this show before we get up to the 10. So by the time I get to the 10, I have my content already. Then I can think about a release. I'm trying to be, proactive. You know what I mean? And not just wait the last minute and just do 10 show, and then after that I have all this footage, and I'm just it could be stressful. I can't really work that way.
I don't edit it. Luckily, I have a whole production team. Thank you to them.
Oh, that's what's up.
And in some cases, you could do live, and you could do or you could have all your editing and stuff that y'all were talking about. I just go live because I like a lot of more of the organic stuff, but at the same time, it's like I get it though.
I like the
it's
live,
better
but
to
I want to
edit.
keep the best part of the live. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about,
Mhm.
keep the best part of this live, and then we can create a show out of it. Cause, like, let me talk to you a little bit about what the Grounded is. You know, the Grounded is a vision. It's not just a podcast. You know, it's a vision. It's just our state, our nature, our natural state. You know what I mean? As being grounded. Because you go back and when you look at the trees, you know, the trees have roots. You know what I mean? They're all underground. You know what I mean? And you go and look at the animals in the jungle. You know what I mean? Like they do the same thing every day when they're hungry. Like they get everything they need from nature. That makes them grounded. So I'm like, if everything on this earth is grounded, so how different are we? If the trees are grounded, the animals are grounded, and everything comes from the ground, as far as like electricity and energy, then we mean this is what we are. So we all like, so with that ideology, you know what I mean, it makes us all grounded. And then if you're grounded, then you are more in tune with nature, then you are pretty much a healthier being. You know, you leave with no sickness, you leave with happiness, you ain't worried about a thing, you start understanding the law of universe, and you manifesting everything in your life. You know, it makes you a grounded person. And when you're grounded, it means, especially for us as the black men in America, or black women, I'm talking to all black people really, or people of color, or the minorities, like for us, it's very important that we be grounded. Because of our level of melanin, the melanin that we have in our body, you know what I mean? We more sensitive to radiation. It means since like radiation comes out of like your phone, your TV, so we more sensitive to culture. Oh, let me tell you one thing about culture. I found out that culture actually comes from the word cult. So it's a cult before it becomes culture. So it is
I think cult has now a bad connotation to it. I think thinking of the word cult in those times would be more like tribal.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody had a cult. So like you go back to even ancient civilization, like Egypt has their own cult, and that's why they were able to build the pyramid. You know, they had a high level of ego, you know, in their cult. But the ego was not a misplaced ego. It was like
There was something. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Say it.
So there was something that I was listening to earlier, right? And it's making me want to go research some more to see if that actually is the situation.
Talk about it.
So, so say for instance, if anybody's ever watched The Matrix, right?
Yeah.
And they paid attention to the situation of The Matrix and what happened in Zion. Mm-hmm. Zion is a rendition of something that happened 6-7 times already. Because they already killed those people and then sparked up the whole situation of Zion, where the people woke up, they started going into the area, and then boom, they found another place to rebuild Zion, and like the idea stayed alive, but the situation just changed per the new people. So what happened was this, right? So the guy was like, there's a possibility that the Egyptians didn't even make the pyramids or the Sphinx or anything like that. It's quite possibly a situation of another built up civilization before, like let's say for instance before the Great Flood, right? Because every culture has a story of the Great Flood, and we even have it in the Bible, so on and so forth, right? So now the story, like say it got built up already way before the flood even happened, right? All that stuff, like there's runoff on it that looks like it was like, you know, weather beaten by water flowing a certain direction, all that type of stuff like that, right? But now all that stuff is there, and we see it to this day. It's in the desert, it's weather beaten, and it doesn't make sense that it's still up the way it is, even though it's supposed to have been like, you know, all these years that's passed, that it should have been weather beaten to the point where we're not noticing it the way it is. So since they can't really carbon date rocks exactly the same way that they can do other things, because usually it's layers upon layers of situations, like when they do trees or when they do ice or when they do I'm trying to think of other things that are like better carbon dated besides like animals, but like soil samples, all that type of stuff like that. But with rock, it's not really that case. We can't fully do it that much. We can radioactively carbon date. I mean, we can radioactively date it, but not carbon date it. So with that being said, quite possibly it's a situation that a civilization many years before even the Egyptians even existed, before the flood and before the Great Fire and before like when well, I don't know if it was all the way back when the dinosaurs were back there, but it was before
Egypt was Egypt.
Before, let's say before Egypt, before Christ. Well, no, I can't even use before Christ because we were there.
I don't think.
This version of human was there.
I mean, I don't. We never really know. I guess because it's just going back and then just finding out that just as far as science, like now that I'm going back and I'm reading a lot about all the scientists that existed back in 500 BC and how far they were from reality, but it was their reality, so they thought it was true, and then that's all they believed to be, and then things kept changing. So I can't really. I'm gonna add to that wisdom though, but I can't really say for sure. But what I'm trying to say is like, I feel like what's going on right now is a lot of the time. I don't know if that's what this is, but a lot of the time they try to deny that black people could do anything great. You know what I mean? So you're telling me that Egypt couldn't have been built by those people because Egypt couldn't have been built by black people?
Nah, I don't think it's that part. Like that's when
being
the type of person I am, especially.
Hold on, let me see. Like we need to like claim this culture. We need to like, as far as like I feel like as black people, we need to claim that culture. We own that culture because like I said, I was talking about culture as being a cult. Like this is how we had a cult that helped us build the pyramid, and in the way it is, it didn't just happen there. It didn't come there miraculously. You know, these people who have high level of intellectuals, mathematics, freaking philosophy, science. Like those people studied, and then people will go to. And I found out, like, I read in a book that a lot of those Europeans used to go to Africa to study. They had the universities. They had the back in Ethiopia and all. People went there to study science, study those things that is used in today's world. And then even the science book, there's ancient Egyptian scientists back in 500 BC.
So
they contributed to that.
You talk about the law schools of thought, the lost arts. Like when so. with the Hebrew Israelite teachings, and then the let's say for instance when we go into the situation of the you know what, no, I'm not even going to use this because I got like quite a few of them that I could run off, especially with masonry. So let's just say for instance we got a whole like esoteric background that none of us even talk about really, right? Like we got a situation where you got schools of thought that haven't even been really put into play when it comes into the American thought process and sphere, period, point blank. So now when we go back into the old, like the Greeks used to revere our education. The Greeks used to send their children, their smartest and their brightest, to the Africans, or like they didn't call them the Africans. Sometimes they called them the Moors. Sometimes they call it depends on what era it was. But overall, like, you know, they used to say the Ethiopians as well. It wasn't, so the word Ethiopian doesn't even mean.
It doesn't even exist. Like, I'm just that side of Africa.
So what it really was is this, the funny part about it is this. So say for instance, the whole entire Africa that we look at today was considered Ethiopia. And then
it wasn't called Ethiopia though. Like it was like what's
depending
today called?
On.
I don't. It's not a.
Hold on, because you cut me off. Because you stopping me before I even get to the end of it and how it actually like got consumed.
The only thing that I feel like, let me finish. The only thing, let me just interject. Let me just interject on that. Like the only reason, then I'll let you speak again. Like the only reason why Ethiopia was seen now as being like the only like the first civilization of Africa is because Ethiopia had probably the most riches when it come to that kingdom. So that one land was guarded.
Nah, that's not.
Listen,
That's not what I'm talking
why
about.
Why is it that Ethiopia, as it is, you know what I mean, was never colonized? Because Ethiopia had some very strong people. I'm talking about people went there to learn. Like, you know what I mean? So they had some level of science, of voodoo.
Yeah, that's
voodoo.
not...
Then nobody wanted to fuck with
when
them.
You say
you know?
Ethiopia, like what you're talking about, because they're not even... When it comes to the Ethiopia you're talking about, and the Ethiopia that I'm referring to when I'm saying that, literally at one point, the whole Africa was considered Ethiopia. Now, Ethiopia has been pushed into one small little region. So you have the Kushite era, where they actually, like, you know, it was the land of Kush.
You mean as far as the people, like, or is that what you mean? As far as Ethiopia?
No. The people, after a while, like, because remember, a lot of the situation of what we have today is that other people have been naming our shit. So when it comes to Nigeria, like Ethiopia, all that type of stuff, because the word Ethiopia means land of the burnt face.
Yeah, but I'm saying Ethiopia was not named Ethiopia until later in time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what I just said.
Like, the whole place was not even called that. This was just when they became a nation, they called that land Ethiopia. Just like Senegal was called Senegal, Gambia was called Gambia. But let me give you a little. Let's just go back to that. So Africa was the same as Ethiopia as the ideology, as far as like the level of strength that they have, or the civilization that they had. So for the longest time, they try to tell black people, you know, we went there, we took some people, they were workers, we brought them here, they were like slaves. It's not who we were, and that's not who they targeted when they went to Africa. So when they went to Africa, they saw, Africa has like inventors, they have workers, and these people know the land like nobody else. Like, they literally can go and grow stuff, and then they had a certain science with agriculture that nobody had. They were like, we will never be hungry again, when they went and saw that. So a lot of those people were like scientists of the land that they went and got from those countries in Africa. And that's the reason why when they took those people, Africa was left weak. Do you understand? But Ethiopia had warriors, and Ethiopia had a king. It had a sacred king. So there was no way that they would be able to colonize a place that had a sacred king that's guarded by God. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the strength of Africa was just like the strength of Ethiopia. If those people were never taken off Africa, or never like sent away, they would have never been able to colonize any countries in Africa. The only reason why they did is that when they went back there, they saw, these people don't have this, they don't have strength no more. So now they're gonna need a leader, because we took all their leaders away from them. Now we're gonna colonize them, and we're gonna be their new leaders. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean Ethiopia was just the first land. Africa was just in one. They called Africa was called Anikubilin as a land. That's what they called Africa. It was just one land. You know, everybody went there for studies. People went there to seek studies because we were so advanced technology. So you can't tell me that those people that were smart, and then you can't deny that we've built the pyramids and put them there. Because I feel like at this point it becomes an agenda. Because unless you can prove me for real with actual facts that these black people did not build Egypt, then I can't believe in it. Because this is actually what I base my whole pride on, my culture on. Because if you don't know greatness, what do you build upon? If your foundation is not greatness, you can build nothing upon it. If you believe that your race can't do anything else but being a slave, then your greatness is going to be based on being a slave, but that's not really too far from being a slave. You know, I don't look at it this way. The way I look at it is like, we've done some great things in history. What we did could have been greater, but we were interrupted in our greatness, because some people went in there and saw potential of enslaving us because they saw our weakness, and our weakness was we were not like what would I say, like our level of
Isn't there a biblical reason?
Say it on the mic.
Isn't there a biblical reason for that? Supposedly, I found out pretty recently that.
Let's talk about it. I want to hear.
Yeah, there was. Go ahead.
I was having a conversation with somebody, and they said that that was Jesus or God's people, and they disobeyed him, and it's something about 144,000. I don't know. I can't
No,
remember.
you're right. You're going in the right direction. You're right.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
You're in the right direction. Like, I ain't even gonna speak over you. I want to hear you actually say it, and I'll let you know what the rest is.
I can hardly remember, and it would be, I don't know how many generations were, how do you say, like damned or something?
It will be until we actually start actually giving praise and coming back together as a people. So one of the people, okay, so for instance, with the Hebrews, right? I'm not going to say the other name. I'm going to just say with the Hebrews. There's a group of people who are claiming, no, I'm trying to keep this safe. There's a group of people who are also a part of the same culture and religious belief of we needed to go back to the land and become a part of it again. And in that, in the prophecy of us all coming back together, then will they return, will be able to get back into the righteousness of where we're supposed to be, all that type of stuff like that. But the problem is we're so scattered and we're so like unable to be able to come together as certain groups that we haven't set that that situation into play. But some other people are claiming to be exactly that, but yet they've gone back and they've taken over the land and done a few things, and nothing's come about except for just their protection and their ability to be able to be there as of right now. And it's a really interesting situation. But at the same time, I'm not denying that they are a part of it, but they're not the onlys. Whereas there's this thing that it's become synonymous to think of the name and that group and only think of certain people who are in that name and that group. I did very well on that one. Hold on, I gotta give myself a clap on that.
clap us, yo.
I did very good. We ain't gonna get canceled.
He's like, he tried hard not to say it. You know what?
We ain't getting Kanye over here. We just started.
Kanye can't be canceled.
Woo, they tried.
The thing is, the way I look at it is, like, we have the wrong idea of what we're using money for, you know? Like, the people who are in control, they're using their money for power. We're using our money to show off. Everything we do, we're doing it like, it's like, at what point do we get the knowledge? But not any knowledge, but I'm talking about knowledge of self. Like, we just need to get to a point where we, like, a man without a counsel, a man without, you know, what's the word for that? A goal, a end goal. Like, I'm talking about, like, lifetime goal, not think about tomorrow. Is nothing. I was like, Kanye is doing great for himself, but I feel like it could be fighting, like, because in the end of the day, a man stands, you know, you got to stand with your opinions and the things that you believe in. You know what I mean? But it just comes down to, like, now you can't even say anything because you can, especially not talk about the people who control you. You know, they control the things that you're saying. Like I said, I'm not worried about being canceled by man. You can, if I get canceled by God, then I'll have more of a problem. Mm-hmm. But the way I look at it with Kanye, he started a fight that he wasn't ready for. You know what I mean? Because before we start that fight, you got to make sure you're ready for that fight.
I think he just speaks his mind.
Power overpowers power. Your money cannot overpower power.
Nah, he was ready for it. I think at first I thought he was a fucking fool.
I don't think he's ready for it.
And then I realized what he did.
Exposes like just.
He got out of the contracts. Every contract he didn't want to deal with no more. All those contracts are gone. Every single, like, he was a billionaire. They tried to take the money, right? But he's still at, like, what is it, like about $800 million in the bank. He was a multi-billionaire at one point. And all that shit disappeared because it was a projected billionaire where they was expecting the money to come into the bank account. Mm-hmm. They knew how much money he was getting paid from company to company, so on and so forth. But what they was doing was they was trying to, like, you know, steal his designs. They were trying to, like, overshadow him with different artists. They were trying to, like, you know, after a while, because, like, with Jordan found a good way to move his merchandise from being just a situation of Nike owning his property or intellectual property to all of a sudden it was just Jordan's intellectual property being sold by Nike.
Let me add to that wisdom right here. It's like, why is it that like I've said that the reason why I say he wasn't ready is because why, like, if you are a man of influence, because he's a man of influence right now, it's like international. Why is it that you find the need to go work with, you know, another company and make the people who you see as your enemy, like you see as your enemies, you actually over there making their money when you could be using your influence in your name and work with maybe other black people who maybe don't have that stature of what Adidas has or whatever. You
Maybe at the time he did not realize like how bad it is.
Exactly, but it's a thing that we don't realize how bad it is. None of us do, because none of us think that way. We think like consumers. So even when we have money and we make an investment, we're still thinking like consumers. So I'm gonna go work with this big company because it's already big, and everybody knows about Adidas. So I'm just gonna do this contract with them. So why didn't he start his own brand and got his own shoemaker and started his own? You know what I mean? Like, as far as like, his name is what made money to Adidas, because without him, Adidas wouldn't be that famous. You know,
for some reason, I'm gonna say people of the American mindset, or the let's say the European, the Western mindset. For some reason, we don't find value in our names the same way, right? So we got people walking around here with Balenciaga on. Right. First off, they should be canceled. If you wearing Balenciaga still to this day, you should be canceled too.
You should be canceled for wearing any other brand that's not like a brand that you own that you know is exploiting you. You should be canceled for wearing Adidas.
So
why would you only cancel one brand? They're all the same in the end of the day. You know what I mean? We should be canceling as black people. We should be canceling all this brand in our mind, and we should start thinking like producers and less like consumers. Because right now we're just consumers. Regardless, like, you making a business investment, you're making a business investment as a consumer, not as a producer. Like, yo, I want to be the guy that my whole community is going to go to, and it's going to be something that I own that can never be taken from me. Whatever I say, I do. In the end of the day, it's always going to be for me. Because look at the Kings. You know what I mean? They didn't always do good things. You know what I mean?
Wait, what Kings? What Kings?
We're going to take, for example, let's take Gaddafi. Gaddafi was not a perfect person, but you can't deny the work that he's done. Do you understand? Because everything that he did, the man owned it. So regardless of who you are or what you're doing, if you own what you're doing, like, let's say he owned Yeezy, or he had, like, let's say all his money was based on what he built, and then he went out there and said what he said. At this point, he could stand on a better foot, because he's like, yo, I don't really need you guys. But the truth of the truth, he needed a lot of this cooperation, because for the longest time he's been doing businesses with them.
It's here though. That's one of the main things. It's here. He's doing business with here. It doesn't mean anything outside of America the same way that it means like right here in this land.
So it's a culture.
It's not only culture. It's the like who runs like most of the company, manufacturing, advertisement, like distribution, all that type of stuff like that. It's another group of people.
Yeah, but you go back even to manufacturing. Those companies don't own their manufacturing. I'm sorry, China owns that shit. Everybody's going to those people for manufacturing.
That's only because China made themselves into a situation where everything is cheaper.
Like the moment Akon said, I'm going to leave America because America was not created. He said it clearly. He said America was not designed for black people to be successful. Because this is why he found out. He found out that, yo, these people are doing businesses with Chinese and they're making all this money. So why would I do business with American when I can just go do the business with the Chinese straight up? Do you understand?
The thing about it is this. So, again, it goes right back to who's running, controlling, and owning everything here. We don't own it. Like, truthfully, here's the funny part about it, in my opinion. Black people in America have all the money in the world, right?
We consumers.
Yet none of that money stays in their pocket, in their background, in their backyard. Like they barely spend their money with their own people, and then the first thing they do is buy, a majority of the time, names and images and labels and things that aren't even of their own people. A majority of the time. That's why we had a whole movement of buy black, and that fell flat after a while. That's why we have a whole situation of every time somebody really major really comes through, all of a sudden they don't really make it nowhere because, let's say overall, black people don't invest in their own because they don't believe in their names being more valuable than Balenciaga.
Exactly.
Like
and
if you see a product, even though this is bad, but you see a product called Johnson's. Like you will buy Johnson and Johnson before you buy the Johnson sneakers.
Frankly, if there was a product that was called Kanye West, because of the influence that he has, people would still gravitate to it.
But
you know what I mean?
That's because he cross-pollinated
of his level of influence. Like if I was to get up and I say, I'm gonna make my brand King Abu, and I don't have that level of influence yet. And if I went to go and do it, nobody's really paying attention, but he's in a better position to do it. That's why I'm saying it goes down to, like, I think we just need to go back to learning more psychology. Like literally, like I think that's how we being played in this game of chess every day.
To me, it's like this. That's why, like, I know I'm militant. I'm militant as fuck. I just cover it up in certain ways, but truthfully, a lot of situations when it comes to the black community, I'm gonna say overall black community, is this. First, they need to consolidate. They need to bring everything back towards what we had before we did integration. At least have one state or one place where it's just the brightest, the best, the biggest, the strongest, everything about black people that's good. That state has only that, and that's it.
I'm with it.
Like, and that's it.
I think Atlanta could be that for black people. You know, it's already started.
It was supposed to be like where Black Wall Street was. Like that state was actually by the United States government given to black people to be able to rebuild. But for some reason, it's just like, look at what's happening there right now. But like for some reason, every time black people started to build up something, it just didn't really go anywhere.
Did you guys hear about Bruce's Beach? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, Bruce's Beach over here in Cali.
Did you hear what happened?
They finally gave it back to the people who own it.
They gave it back to the people, and they sold it for way less than it would be worth.
So who
they
owned
kept
Bruce's
it.
Beach before?
They sold it again?
Yes.
They sold it?
Fucking
Yes.
idiots.
Yes.
They just got it back.
I swear.
So this is what I'm saying. Like this is what I'm.
And this is the mindset
exactly
of stupid ass black
saying.
people.
the consumer's
Well,
mentality.
I didn't say that.
I'm gonna say it.
No.
I'm black as fuck, so I can say it. Fuck it.
It's not seeing the bigger picture because you never have been able to. Like you never saw it work out for people before you, so why would you think?
You know why we doing things like that? Because this country, like I'm gonna tell you why people will go and then act this way, and it's on a psychological level. Like the reason why we
And I'm gonna add to that when you get
the
finished.
reason why we would go and just go sell out the things that was given back to you when you own it, because you're not understanding ownership, is because they spread consumership to us every day. These people are highly educated. They know what the hell they're doing. It's not by mistake. They don't get up and say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this." Everything is just planned. You know, it's all planned. So the reason why we design, even by the devices, the stuff that we watch, they throw in this commercial. Like, white people didn't start really being successful like that, you know, or Caucasian, whatever. Like, did not being successful like that until they built Hollywood. Hollywood was like their everything. Once they built Hollywood, then they started controlling everything. So they're controlling you by the commercial that they're playing every day. So you thinking like a consumer. So every time you get something, you're thinking about selling, you're thinking about cash, you think about money. We're not thinking about power. You know why we're not thinking about power? Because we don't have anything to look forward to. And the reason why we don't have anything to look forward to, as far as like I'm talking as a group, as a people, is because some way, somehow, we still believe we were a slave. We got to get that shit out of our head.
Here's the funny part about the Hollywood thing. Hollywood wasn't even made. Okay, so we can't give credit to YT people for Hollywood, right?
They used us to build it.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't YT people who actually built it. It was a very consolidated group of people who claim to be Hebrews that built it.
Oh, I get it. What Kanye West was talking about, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then after...
But they saw potential in that, so they used the whole idea.
Yeah, well, This is hard to explain without saying directly. So, like, we have the powers that be, and then we have white people. White people didn't really exist until...
It's not a race.
Yeah,
like, that's what I'm saying. They just...
It's a buffer.
They decided to join forces because they saw that they were losing this whole thing. So it's like, yo, I'm gonna, cause think about it. The moment we start
Damn, we about
identifying,
to get
the moment we start identifying those people,
Look, see,
we're not getting canceled, bro. We're not getting
stuff.
we're not getting canceled. The
If
moment
they don't feel this,
the
they're
moment we
already
start
closed-minded.
identifying the ethnicities in the amount of the white, but we could call them white because when you go on the application, it says white, black American, white American. So yeah, we
I'll
could
fix it
call
another time.
So the moment we start identifying white in America, we start finding Italians, English, French, you know, whatever, Jews.
Well, actually, here's the
Hebrews.
funny part.
Well, Hebrew is more like black.
You'll find Arabic people in the white community. You'll
They got
find
white Arabic.
you'll find Mexicans in the white community.
And then, you know why? It's just to show that they have the majority. So they created white so they could gain the majority. So do you understand how important to be a majority group in a country? It means you're controlling everything.
Here's what's funny.
You know what I mean?
I gotta change this shit every census. I'm white. I'm not white. Do I look white? There's no here.
He's white on he's white on paper.
But on paper, I'm freaking white, and I have to
Really?
change it every time. Every time.
That is so funny.
It gets on my nerves because, like,
Oh shit, that shit alive.
I don't know why. Like, it's kind of funny because, like, I guess from when I was younger, right?
Make sure y'all stay hydrated, yo. Stay hydrated.
When I was younger, well, actually, no. To this day, I'm Republican. So I'm Republican. I'm Jewish. I'm from New York. I guess like some of my family members on one particular. Actually, no, it's not even. I guess I know. Some of my family on one particular side of my family like own shit in the islands and shit like that, and they're white. That's all I know when it comes to like what I was told when I was little.
Yeah.
So
I mean, going
we
back
got
to that,
disowned a long time
I'm not
ago.
saying it as a bad thing. I'm just saying I'm just trying to make people understand the reason why there is white and black American and Latin American. So we needed to they need to determine who the minorities are because the whole thing is.
But even in Latin,
we can't deny white supremacy like in America. If you deny it, then you're lying. You know what I mean? Because you know this is how it works. Everything is owned by white people. You tell me one black person that owns like a big chain in America.
but even in being Latin, the people who are Latin are split between the two. Are you like white Latin American or are you Latin American? And the moment that they know those two, they'll ask you, are you Hispanic? Which isn't even a group of anything because if I speak Spanish, then I'm Hispanic all of a sudden.
It's like anybody. Like,
It's just like,
No, if that's your native tongue.
but that's the thing. Like, how is it your native tongue unless you were like occupied by the Spanish, right? But the thing about it is this: a majority of the people who are occupied in certain areas aren't even speaking Spanish; they speak Portugal or Portuguese.
Portuguese, yeah.
So, what do they mark down? You know what I'm saying?
So going back to what you had over there, you had on your screen something about the Moors, like, and I was reading about it. It was interesting. I thought you were going to talk about it, which is the reason why you.
Yeah,
had
I
it
was
there.
waiting on you to
Yeah.
get to it.
I do want to
So
talk a little bit about
when it
about
came
the
down to like how we started giving, let's say the European the keys to the castle, when they were going through their dark ages and stuff, and they were trying to figure stuff out, we had dumbasses. Because I say we dumb. The reason why I say we dumb overall is because we are so fucking nice.
nice, very nice.
And we go out to other people areas
We
and
can't
we
be
see
nice no more.
we see people like struggling. We be like, hey, how about we help you out? And even you see this to this day, motherfuckers who are in the hood that got nothing will help somebody with their last, and then they'll take that and then run with it, and then all of a sudden they'll be kicked out of their area, and they just got finished helping these people to do whatever they were trying to do. So overall, I'm speaking to let's say more black people to be more selfish, but through history's lessons is what I'm saying, to be more selfish. But so I'll bring that up real quick.
I don't like. I'm gonna add to your wisdom there because I don't want to mislead the people. So, like, yes, you must be.
Wait, let me clarify it then.
Be selfish. You can be selfish. Self. Like, think about selfish because you need to be selfish in order to be selfless. So before you can get up and then you can help your community, you need to make sure that your pockets are filled, because if you don't got the fund, you don't got the money, you can't buy the power. So you need to be selfish. Like, you see some people, like, they're so generous, they'll give everything they have. You know what I mean? Like, and then after that, you don't have shit for yourself. How can you? And you can't help nobody anymore. The moment you don't have nothing else, you can't help nobody. So you go back and see the brokest people are the most generous people. The people who just like to give. You need to think about building something, because I feel like, especially in our community, the moment you start, people read you into being somebody who's generous, everybody's gonna go to you for help, because we all struggling. But in the only way we can get ourselves out of that loop, like for me, like for King Abu, you know what I mean? King Abu is not gonna, before I give you $10, I'll make sure I have $1,000 in my bank account. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that kind of stuff. We need to build this mentality of abundance. Because if you decide that you're gonna help people, which is a good quality, it means you meant to be a leader for your community. But you cannot be a leader who just wants to give everything that he has.
Like that.
You know what I mean?
I'm
like that. Like, a lot of us are designed this way. Like, I had to unlearn that.
By faith,
I think myself, I have to unlearn it.
I'm like, God got me.
Yeah. We said God got me. You got to get yourself first. You know what I mean?
Listen, God said that you're supposed to be able to teach a man to fish. If you can't teach a man to fish, then that means you can't fish in the first place. So if you're giving him everything that you got and you can't reproduce and you can't produce period point blank, that's where you're messing up.
The thing is that you can be able to give a lot of people things, but we need to be able to build. But the thing with our community is like the moment, it's like black people, when we think tribe, we think block. It's like the moment you're famous, you're not looking at a bigger picture as all of us being one and building. You're thinking about the niggas that was around you, you know, or the people you call your friends. Those are the people that you're gonna be helping. You're not thinking about, yo, I'm gonna do something to help all these black people over here. You know what I mean? And this is why we're not moving with a purpose. Like, the moment you just getting your money and you're just holding your money for yourself, all you're doing is buying fancy cars, and then you actually feeding this culture of you know, showing that black people are just entertainers. You know, we get money, bitches, sex. Like, that's all you see in the videos. Mm-hmm. The moment you start thinking like that, now you're part of the culture. You know what I mean? It's a cult. You know, it's made to. They're using these radiation from this cult to get everybody hyped to this culture, and it becomes cool. It becomes the norm. You know, and the moment you start thinking differently, then people start like outcasting you. Oh, this guy is not, he's not hyped to the culture, and like we just gotta get to a point where, like, that's sometimes you just gotta. I will say, because I was saying separation is needed for elevation, but the brother I talked to last night was very savvy, and it was like, yo, be careful of the things you say. Don't say separation. Say maybe restriction. You know, because he said, like, any word you say, you're putting it out in the universe. It's like, this is the power of our mind.
What do you mean?
Any word.
Well, like, no, in reference to the conversation y'all were having, like, he was trying to.
I was saying that
change the context of separation.
Yeah, because I was saying, what up, Soul Sanctuary? Thank you for being here, yo. If you're on the chat, if you have any question, we'll answer you. But he was saying, because I was talking about.
Because I truly believe there needs to be a separation.
Okay, separation. He said separation is a too heavy word, like, because you can't. Because the moment you start saying it, your brain start believing in it, and that's how we get completely separated. Like, it's like, yo, I'm not seeing these people as my people anymore. I'm seeing money now. Money is my reality. You know.
Oh, no.
So maybe, like,
I'll clarify mine.
Maybe, like,
finished.
That's why I was saying maybe we should use better words, and then, like, use restriction. I'm gonna restrict myself from this for a minute, because you can never get away from your own people.
Oh no, I ain't. No, I'm
separation.
Talking about
Separation means, yo, I'm gonna build my own land over here. You build your own land over there. You know?
Yes,
what I mean?
Definitely that part right there. Yeah. Like, I mean exactly
that's what
that.
I'm saying. But the problem is that we do it, but we do it forever. We don't do it just for a moment until we up to. If we up and we ready, we have this level of power. You know what I mean? And then if we all thought this way, that, okay, I got this amount of power, and power is just influence. It's like, it's not the money. The money can buy you power. You could see somebody might not have millions and stuff, but his level of influence, people are listening to him because he has certain charisma. There could be more to power, but the moment you get that's the moment you want to now go back to your people, and you can change a lot of the situation that's around you, because now you can see the big picture.
See the bigger picture. So what you were saying earlier with the whole cult, so the cult or the culture or the cult or the cult of thought which is like needed to be formed, needs to be separated from the cult of America, in which we have certain mindsets that come from the culture of the dominant culture of America, right? Everybody who comes here, they become susceptible to the cult of America, right? Everybody, matter of fact, the whole world is susceptible to the cult of America.
The thing is that you need to understand, you don't need to come to America to be hyped to the cult of America or the culture. Like people, I'm telling you, when I was in Senegal, I was more hyped to the culture than when I moved to America. Like coming to America made me realize that, okay, this is not what it is. But in Africa, all these kids over there, they're more hyped to the culture as you are, bro. Like these people, they know everything when it comes to hip hop. All the dances, like they hype to it. This is all they follow.
When I was outside of, when I was in Korea, when I was in like it was German motherfuckers who knew more about well, actually no, I'm gonna go back to the Korean one because that was the one that got me. Because like when I was in Germany, I was like, all right, whatever. Like, you know, I was kind of I was a youngin'. I was like 19, 20. But when I went to the World Hip Hop Competition, the motherfuckers who won the World Hip Hop Competition, who do you think they were?
Japan, right?
No, it wasn't Japan. But it was Koreans.
Koreans?
It was Koreans.
Because I know it's usually between Japan, Korea, and France sometimes.
The Americans were horrible.
They're the worst of it.
They were hard. I was like, what are you doing? Like the essence of hip hop right now, you could be doing that. That's what these motherfuckers is doing. Flares, all that type of stuff. They was doing like hippie granola bar, rolling a ball and then rolling on top of the ball and then like passing each other, looking like they were doing some type, I don't know what the fuck it was.
I like what she's saying there. She said they study us as a science.
Yo, listen, they do. Yeah. I was out in Korea and literally they turned, like I had motherfuckers telling me about my shit that I grew up, like the people I know. They were telling me about shit I didn't know about people I knew. And I was like, yo, wait, hold on. This is crazy. Like, I gotta shut the fuck up for a second because this is actually good. And I went and I called home and I was like, oh shit, that is true? I thought they was just making that shit up because I ain't know. And it was really true. And like, it was wild because it fucked me up.
That's what I'm saying. Like Hollywood was the best thing that happened to those people. You know what I mean? That's how they're able to control everybody. You know, everybody's hyped to these cameras. You know, like imagine if all these greatest kings in the past had access to camera. Imagine what they could have done. You know what I mean? We living in a generation right now. The power that we have is like we just don't have the elevation that those people had. But the power that we have as far as like what we detain in our hand, if those people had that power, they would have done amazing things. We just need to get to the position where like we need to change our perception because we've been misled for a long time. Like we're being told that, you know what I mean, you got to work hard, get a job, you know what I mean, 9 to 5, get your salary at the end of the month or whatever, your wage at the end of the week. Then you got rent to pay, you got a car bill to pay. So you're constantly thinking about making this money. Your vision is just, I'm getting by. I'm paying my bills and then I'm getting this. You're not really thinking on the bigger picture. You're not thinking power.
Listen.
Which is what our civilization was based on.
I do want to say this part too, because when it comes to hip hop, we always think about, like, I got a bunch of Puerto Rican fucking family members. It was a bunch of Puerto Ricans in the fucking hip hop culture and shit like that. And like, I want to say, and it's a bunch of other types of people in hip hop culture. So like, I don't want them to like be overshadowed by the situation or what they actually contributed as well. So like when I hear like, you know, like they say black people put in is not there. It's there. It's just that the culture of hip hop, which like is not just black, but the culture of hip hop is not appreciated the same way other people appreciate their cultures. So for instance, you could have a rocker still rocking off the same fucking song from 40 years ago. And it's like their people will go to the concert and be like, yeah, you remember this? Yeah, all that shit, right? Which that means a whole bunch of shit in itself as well. But these motherfuckers will still be rocking to that same song. I wanna rock and roll all night. And it still feel good to them, just like yesterday.
Yeah, but then you can't deny that one of the leading music, you know, is hip hop is leading when it comes to like how much money is being made through music.
Oh no, that's not even what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is this, like Soul Sanctuary said, where'd it go? They do not value the foundation and grow it, and that's what the problem is. Like you got rappers right now. Like think about what 21 Savage said. For instance, 21 Savage said. I'm getting to it. 21 Savage said that Nas was a non-factor in hip hop when Nas was one of the groundbreaking hip hop artists.
He said that?
He said that.
Why would
he say you're just trying to be relevant? You're not relevant anymore. And it's like, why in the hell would hip hop, let's say, history kings, like the people who actually put you in a position to be able to mumble on a fucking record. Sorry, I'm like, what the fuck does he say? Like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna calm down. They don't, and that's the problem with America overall. We don't respect our elders the way other cultures respect their elders as well.
Because this is the thing, like we just have this thing that because I'm telling you, just go back to the ground, to being grounded. You know what I mean? Just hit the gong one more time there. You know, it goes back to being grounded. Because if you don't know where you're coming from, like if you don't know that your people can do greatness, your people can actually accomplish greatness.
That's our host right there.
You know what I mean? If you do not know that your people can accomplish greatness, then you're never gonna see in any other black man greatness. So when you see a black man do something great, instead of you as a youngster coming from that generation, you should be looking at those people as, you know, it's a problem. You know what I mean? Because, you know, white people, they see other white people as being like, you know what I mean? They like somebody seeing the Pope as being their influence for greatness. You got to have somebody that's going to help you work hard towards something. So the more, if we start researching more of I think our black heroes, we don't do it. Like there's a lot of our black heroes, people don't do it. They don't teach it to you. You don't know. So how else would you? How can you can't even blame the man. You can't even blame him.
We're gonna switch up. We're gonna switch up, right? We're gonna raise the energy, but we're gonna switch it up to something else real quick, right? Because we got a guest here, and we went down this nice little rabbit hole of conversation and thought, right? But we need to bring it back to, like, you know, the guest speaker that we got on the stage right now. Like we kind of forgot about her.
Exactly.
We over here talking about blackness and black movements and stuff like that. Like, you know. But like if on my YouTube, I don't know how, like, you know, B gonna go on B, but on my YouTube, like
we gotta make sure everybody speaks
in certain situations, in certain areas, you know what we say, you know, if she ain't acting right, Latinas is the night. But
I didn't.
Nah, but let's go ahead. Let's introduce the guest.
We already did introduce the guest. She's been talking, but I do want to have, you know, her take or how she sees. Like, first I want to know, like, you know, what's your ethnicity, like your race. Introduce yourself. Like, I don't think you really introduce yourself or where you're from and, you know, all these things. Yeah.
I'm Alex again. I'm Mexican. I was gonna mention earlier that Mexicans are like a combination of everything. Like there's Afro Latinos, there's white, and, you know, mestizos, and we're just a combination. So, you know,
we need more education on that.
I did a DNA test, and it's like I have like all these things that I did not think. I just always said Mexican, but
so you did a DNA test?
I didn't do a DNA test. My mom did, and I was just like,
so what did your mom get?
Nash.
She's like 20-something% Spanish, 20-something%. I don't know if it was West or East African, and then like 16 or something around there, indigenous. So I was just like, wow, that was like an identity crisis to me. Like I always just said Mexican. That's all I related to. We do have a strong culture, and you know, that's what I identify with, and yeah, I don't. It was just kind of an identity crisis. I didn't know. I was raised in South Central, like in the, you know.
Don't say the word.
What?
I thought you were gonna say in the hood. I was raised in South Central. You said what? In the, you know. I was like, don't say the hood.
Why not? That
in the barrio, you know.
It absolutely is,
yeah.
And it changed how, you know, how I grew up to think and be.
I wanted to ask something too, like what you was like, because what you were saying earlier was like the way that we think in America. Like it was something towards what we think in America and stuff. And for a very long time, I'm gonna say for like a guy from where I come from. That's why I believe in the whole situation of what I was trying to build with the whole Black Boys Abroad. Like the problem that we have with one situation is this. There's some people, let's say, I'm gonna say my group of people, where
good night, Soul
they've
Central.
never
Thank you for being here, yo.
they've never actually ventured outside of America. So all they know is the American situation, right? So like if you Mexican and never been outside of Mexico, out of America, and you never seen like a place where like you got a whole bunch of people who look just like you, do you think it would affect you in a certain way where like you would never have thought of like,
the materialistic way we live here?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I lived in Mexico for a while, and we are very much family values.
And it's totally different.
I want to go back, like, I swear.
And for me, I left the country. So like when I left the country, and then I saw how everybody else was living, and I'm in different states, different countries over and over again. And I'm like, yo, like this ain't how we live over there. This ain't how we live over like that.
Yeah, it's not
it's
like
better.
it's not natural at all how we're doing it. This is why we're so exhausted. Like we're like in an endless loop of what they set up for us. It's like we're little pieces in their factory.
I literally used to be, when I first like in it was some type of economics class, right? And I heard about Spain, and Spain having fucking fiestas. I used to be like, wait, hold on. So they get to sleep in the middle of the day?
Siestas.
Siesta? Fiesta?
I was like,
Which one? What is it? What is it?
Time siesta.
Siesta?
Fiesta means party. You said fiesta.
I said fiesta. I meant siesta, right?
That's
Siestas. Yeah.
But
like
they
when
use
I
the same
heard
word
that
in
shit,
French too. Like they use French as siesta. Like
I used to
siesta,
be mad as hell. I'm like, yo, hold on.
Yeah.
So they get to go to sleep in the middle of the day,
Japanese.
and we gotta be sitting here on some other shit where we got work all day. You get 30 minutes to lunch, and then get your ass back to work.
Yeah. Yeah, they work
So tell me, like, what? Because you said your culture over there in Mexico is completely different as the culture as
There's
we
no
in
culture
America.
here.
Okay.
Like, there's
I agree.
a culture in the United States. So to say it's like much different, it's like
So
different as opposed to what?
I think like I would use culture for America, and I would use tradition
Yeah.
for Mexico, or
Oh, wait,
tradition
no.
for everywhere else, because a culture is like it's like that's what I'm saying. We need to
Traditions-
analyze the word.
Yeah.
Well,
What-
traditions
I
are
agree.
a part of the culture. That's the thing.
Ex-
So the word tradition
Enough
fits into the
tradition
culture.
makes
But-
it the culture.
Yes,
There
exactly.
is,
Multiple
like-
traditions make culture.
But there is a culture in America. There is a cult in America. It's not well founded. It's not a cult that's founded for good, but it's
I think I'm saying culture in a different way.
like I think
knowing
who-
I think it's the definition of culture that I
Who's
am not
feeding?
agreeing.
Who's the culture feeding in a way though? That's the thing. So in the groups that I roll in, right? One of the main ways that we describe certain things is you have the dominant culture, and then you have the I don't want to call them subcultures, but then you have the let's say the damn, I'm looking for that one word that's eluded me, but let's just say the subsidiary cultures that are within the dominant culture. So every
like,
place and every
okay,
land that you land in, and everywhere that you go, you'll have that dominant culture, right? But let's say you're from India, you're Indian, right? So you move to Great Britain. So now you're a part of the dominant culture of the of the British or London and stuff like that. And then, well, I want to say London, and I'm not going to say Great Britain, because those are two separate situations as well. If you know about the situation of that the Queen isn't even sovereign in the first place, like you'll understand that Great Britain is separate from London, the actual state and country itself. But that's neither here nor there. That's just to suffice the situation of that culture is separate. The Great Britain culture and the London culture is separate from each other, yet they both coincide with each other to have some type of symbol of the times of past.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
That's
We
what I'm
have
saying,
a constant evolution of things that are going on, and then we just keep adding to, and then we keep taking away from, and then all of a sudden the very rules that we're based off, for instance, for the Second Amendment, they're trying to get rid of the very thing that is actually stopping them from being able to make us just like Great Britain. And that's the part that's the most like the scariest for me, being a Second Amendment guy, yeah, I'm a back off of some of that. But you get what I'm saying.
But I'm like going back to like I'm gonna go back to the word culture, like a cult. Like it comes from the word occult. What is a cult? I'm gonna give you an example of a cult. Like a good cult, like in Africa.
We're gonna bring up the etymology too.
At the time of Abraham, you know, a good cult was people would just slay the animal and give the sacrifice, the blood to the god. That's a cult. That's a cult. You know what I mean? So we understand we understand the law of nature enough, and you know that okay, there's some things that I can do because once you start understanding that there is a metaphysics, there's a physics and there's a metaphysics on this world. So people do cult for the metaphysics, and they get assistance from the metaphysics, and it comes into the physical world. Like we talk about a cult. That's what I'm saying. It's very hard, like, cause culture, it comes from cult. It's like it's something that you're doing. Like when you say that America don't have a culture, I was like, I'm trying to like maybe America is really the only one who really have a culture. Because this cult,
I don't think so. What was it founded on?
Because think about it, America has a cult, and then this cult that America has turned everybody into real consumers. And America being able to lead the millions of people that's in this country. You know what I mean?
I think the way I'm thinking of culture is like the opposite of how they are here. Everyone here is so robotic.
I think I understand what you're saying.
Such about,
I understand. Like, I agree with what you're saying.
They're all about buying things and selling things, and that's not culture. To me, culture is like your soul coming out in traditions.
Yeah.
So that's not.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I
wouldn't. I agree with what you're saying. I think. I'm not.
There's like styles of
I just feel like
people do in their certain areas, and especially as a whole, it's not. We don't have a culture. There's
maybe
like
it's more the word that I don't agree.
New York has their own style. Chicago has their own style. Like Midwest has their own style. As a whole, we do not have a culture. Like no.
See, I
don't think so.
The problem is like we do, but the culture doesn't actually stand with what.
I can't say
we're so divided. I don't.
Like, the thing is this, like, okay, so if you look at the situation of, let's say, for instance, the European culture that's here in America, this is the great experiment, right? So one of the things that they did was they stripped the, let's say, the Caucasoids of their multiple cultures. They came here and they wanted to be a part of the thing that is ruling, right? So let's say, for instance, the situation of, let's say, for instance, the culture of being French. When people get here, they'll strip themselves of being a Frenchman unless it's something that is actually beneficial to them and become just white, right? Now, if you look at the culture of being white in America, black people, Mexicans, everybody, when they start trying to find work, all try to become white. And then once they actually like find something where they don't have to actually be a part of the white culture, then they'll tend to like just be themselves after a while, right? If it benefits them to be able to be in their culture and work within their culture and not have to be white, all of a sudden they're authentically everything it is to be whatever they are. So all of a sudden, like, you know, for instance, like it's funny because Crook said this recently. When he was like doing certain things, he was like, you know, he was speaking just regular within his like an American accent without no like, you know, patois tone or anything like that. Then the moment that he was in a situation where he didn't have to do that, all of a sudden he was like, I'm unapologetically Jamaican. And it's like, that was one more example of what I was seeing from different situations where people, once they could do it, they do it, right? So like when you're in a situation where you could be unapologetically just Mexican, unapologetically just, let's say, like, I can't be unapologetically New Yorker in LA. I can't. It offends people just for me to talk regular. For me to talk regular, like, it makes people feel like I'm trying to fight them when I'm just trying to actually just talk to them. If I don't like you, you won't hear a word from me.
I don't think it should be like it just come to so like it just that sounds like some feminine shit to me. Like it's like to me, I'd want people like I don't really care for how people talk. It sounds ignorant, you know what I mean? And this is not what we do at the grounded conversation. Like I feel like we should be able to like accept everybody the way they are. I agree with you. Going back to what Alex was saying. I agree with what you're saying. As far I know how you trying to come in. I think my problem is the word that's being used. I think I'm being very careful with the
I
word.
agree. We have
with
to
the
analyze
words,
it.
with the words that we're using from now on, because our words could be our biggest curse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I just be very careful now with the things I'm saying. I'm saying culture. America has a culture. I can't say America doesn't, because if we analyze the actual word and saying that it's come from a cult, America was founded on a fucking cult. Like, from A to Z. Everything was cult. From slavery to the end. It's like, do you think that a person who was able to enslave people for like 400 years and use all these people to build this great nation did not have a plan as of how they were going to proceed from A to Z? You think they didn't write that shit down? And then the more I go, and I wrote this one book today from this author, and then it said something about what's the freaking book? Let me see if I can remember real quick. But mainly the book was talking about how what's the name of that book?
Here you go. I hate to say this part, but you just proved me right.
Prove you right on what?
You just proved me right.
On what? On
Just we'll rewind it. You'll see.
I just proved you right.
Yeah.
On what? Make your point.
When I speak my regular, I could be speaking positive, but just because of the way that it comes out, the inflections, the strength in it, people,
I don't disagree with you, bro.
people
Like,
actually-
that's why I'm saying that's why I'm confused when you say I didn't disagree with you at all. Like, I agree with you. Like,
No, I didn't say you
I'm-
disagreed.
I'm saying that you think I'm disagreeing with you. Like, I didn't say you were wrong. I think everybody was here is actually right. Everybody has, you know, whatever their opinion is. What I'm saying, what I'm not agreeing with is the word culture, which has nothing to do with what you're saying. Like, the actual word culture, and saying that America doesn't have a culture. If we're looking at the word culture, what culture means, America is probably the only country that has the culture, because it's a cult. Everywhere else, we have tradition, doctrines, which what helps lead our society. I don't like that word. That's what I'm saying. It's just the word that I don't like. It's not really like, I'm not really talking about you. I'm just saying, like, the actual word. It's not a sacred word at all. We're using it on a daily basis. We keep saying the black culture, like, you know what I'm saying. But we don't really have a black culture, because we don't have a cult.
Who is this?
Me. I typed it. So she was asking, hey, yo, what are you talking about? Just came in and I told her America not having a culture.
Oh, that scared the hell out of me. I was like, yo, that's not me.
He's like, yo, it's the CIA or the FBI. The CIA or the FBI on my freaking shit. No, it's not what it is. You know what I mean?
Yo, that shit, that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, I think America does have a culture, but the way this is founded, I think America is the only country that has a culture, because they leading the world with that culture. It's like they're able to affect anybody's traditions and doctrines around the world. Like, everybody's looking at America because America has a culture. It's a cult.
I thought they.
You know what a cult is? Like Abraham, like at the time of Abraham, I was gonna say, you cut me off, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be cutting me off. But at the time of Abraham, you know what I mean? They used to kill the lamb and then sacrifice the lamb and give the blood to the nature. That was a cult, because they believed that if they did that, then the land would be more fertile, and they would grow more from that land.
Yeah.
And they went from that to all the way to the Bible, where they say, like, God asked Abraham to kill his own son. And then when he decided he was going to go and kill his eunuch son in the name of God, it translated to be like God pretty much replaced his son with a lamb. So he ended up killing a lamb instead. That's why the Muslims have this one holiday, they call it Eid al-Adha, where they kill the lamb and then they eat the lamb.
Yeah.
That's a base holiday.
But
you know what I mean?
That's
a
like
cult.
when I remember that story,
Yeah.
I always remember that story of God being petty. Like, to me, it was a story of God being petty, because he said, yes, if you really show faith in me, you will kill your son, type of deal, right? I'm paraphrasing right now because, like, it's been so long since I read that shit. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden, right when he got there, he was like, God, I'm here, I'm about to do it. And then he goes, no, stop. I was just playing. Kill the lamb. I really believe now that you believe in me. It's okay, brother. Like, and then, like, he was petty as fuck for that shit. He was about to kill his kid to show that he really believed in God. And then all of a sudden, God was like, nah, stop playing. Stop playing. I'm playing. I'm sorry.
But hold on. Like, it's funny though. It's funny.
Look, I have my own.
When you think about it, yeah, like it makes you question a lot there. Like,
I have a whole bunch of stories called ghetto renditions of the Bible,
Yeah.
right? I just haven't, like, fully recorded all of them, But like every time, like when you read the Bible and you translate it into today's situations, yo, I swear to God, you'll be like, yo, like God was a little petty in some of the shit that he did. He was a little petty.
But then again, you go back and see, like, it makes you question a lot, because now you go back and you go to Egypt and you see these monuments, like the tallest monument that you ever seen, like 10 feet high and shit, like, and you see how much ego these people had. Like, they had their face drawn on some big monument, but then again, they also built the strongest civilization. So it makes you wonder, maybe we do need more ego. Like we think, like especially we look at the black culture, we be like, yo, the black people have a lot of ego in hip hop. But think about it, like we don't have enough ego. I feel like if we had enough ego, then we would think power, we would think building our own, having our own, which is what we always were doing on Earth. Like now we just want to be consumers and we just want to buy and be like really, like we were not the slaves. Now we are the slaves.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I would see that as a situation of like, have you ever heard the story of the fleas? Like, yeah.
Tell about the story of the fleas. When you tell something, you gotta talk to these people over there.
There's a situation, right, where scientists have taken some fleas can jump up to like 6 feet, right? 6 fucking feet. Like, how the fuck? But like they could jump up to 6 feet. They've taken them, put them in a jar, and put them to a point where they can only jump about, like, let's say a foot, right? Now, once they put that lid on that jar, the fleas keep jumping, and then boom, they hit their head on the jar. Now they've trained themselves over generations of, like, because fleas like die quickly and so on and so forth. They train themselves in that jar to only jump as high as the lid. So now when you take them out of the daggone jar and, you know, put them down, they'll only jump as high as that lid has actually hit them. Yeah. And it's like the situation of, well, with a lot of people, I'm gonna say people, period, point blank, because when it comes to, like, let's say, for instance, neuro-linguistic programming.
To add to that wisdom, they also did it with, like, flies and shit, like, and then they had it in a can. They closed him in there. They left him there for from the time the flies were born all the way to, like, and then they opened it up and the flies just. Well, the mosquito. It wasn't fly. It was mosquitoes. And then they stayed in there. They wouldn't come out.
See, that would have been the same situation that happened with the fleas. They would have never been able to come out because they can't jump higher than the lid. Yeah, but like,
and then you also get conditioned.
And that's the key to it, though. Yeah. The conditioning that they've done over this time when it comes to the people. Like, let's just say people overall, because if you look at the whole thing of like the elasticity, not even elasticity, but the neuro-linguistic programming of people overall, the way that they set certain words within the media, the way that they teach people, even right now, the way that they're trying to transform the way that the school systems are in America right now. And then when you look at what the product is of today, when you look at the product of different states, you'll start to realize certain things.
Make sure you stay hydrated, yo.
Because when you look at, like, let's say, for instance, New York compared to Florida compared to North Carolina compared to, like, each state has their, like, you know, their big thing. So Georgia was a big education area. Florida, depending on certain parts, was a big education area. But then when you get to New York was a big education area only in spots. And then, like, you start realizing, wait, hold on, why is that the case? That is the lid, the proverbial lid, being over top of the fleas in a way. Certain areas got great education. Certain areas didn't. I just so happened to be lucky to go to certain schools. Actually, yeah, y'all can't get us now. Yeah, I went to certain schools I wasn't supposed to, but fuck y'all. I got that. I got the good education.
And that's the problem, is that we always waiting for them to do it for us. You know what I mean?
It's this lady got sentenced to 10 years for putting her son in a better school. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah,
yes.
Crazy.
And that type of stuff that's the lid that was being put. Like, there were situations in this country alone. Let's not just say like certain states, but Kamala Harris even explained certain situations that happened to her while she was going through her presidency, where they were sitting there trying to get her presidency, where they were sitting there and it was like, you know, getting mad because certain people was trying to go to certain certain schools and get a little bit of a better education because of when it comes down to the schools, they get paid off the money that's taken off the taxes and the taxpayers in the area. And if the housing isn't really up to par and they ain't getting that much money, that means you ain't going to get the best teachers for that area with that money.
I mean, the government made the hoods.
Yes.
So that's like all that needs to be said. That is the literal jar they put us in.
The jar.
They made that. And not only that, I saw a study where like there's people that do like plate spinning, and the scientists, psychologists all pick a random ball and they're like, okay, if it's a blue one, you're going to tell them they did good no matter how they did. If it's a red one, you're going to tell them they did bad. And the people that were told they did bad did like 75 times worse the next time, no matter how good they were doing. There was one that was like naturally gifted at this shit, like so random. And then he couldn't even get the plate to spin anymore after he was told that he was bad. And, you know, this can go...
neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah, and
wow.
They, you know, that's the same thing in the hood. They make you feel like you're not worth it. You'll never amount to anything. Mostly teachers that hate their life and hate their job, but also just the way that you see your surroundings. It makes you feel like that subconsciously. So that's, you know.
Exactly.
Goes into the same thing.
It's like we were reduced to it. We were reduced to. That's what I'm saying. How do you take a man's integrity? You know what I mean? You take his history from him, take all of his history, or you make him believe his history is nothing but, you know what I mean, attached.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
That was a good one. That was a good one. I didn't even know that one. I
love that. It's called 100 Humans on Netflix. I love studying like the human and their mind and like those tests that they put people through to see. Yeah. You know? It's amazing. 100 Humans on Netflix. You guys have to watch it.
That's a watch it right there.
Yeah,
y'all make sure you check it out. Go check out
lots of different studies.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like this is what they took the integrity from us, and then they just placed us in certain situation. Like, but now it's like, listen, I'm gonna say it like that. We built everything in this country. You think about it. They used our power, our energy, our power to build this country. We built it. So we can use the same energy to get us out of it. It just comes to like, the thing is, black people don't have a council anymore. There's no one that we're listening to. You know, we completely, whatever you listen to frequently and what you do frequently becomes your frequency. That's what you on. You know what I mean? If you on different things and you're on the things that don't teach you anything about yourself, that don't help you to learn about yourself. You know, when you come over here and you're tapping in, you know, and tuning in with the grounded here, we're teaching you, we're spreading good knowledge for you. So you should be fucking with people like us, but instead you gotta go spend your time, you know what I mean, fucking with people who's not doing anything to elevate you, than be around people who's going to elevate you. This is the mentality.
It's a vibe, you know, all the time.
We need to like change. We need to reprogram our minds. I
still love you though, Chris man.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just reprogram our mind. You know what I mean?
Yo.
And then we need to establish some councils. Like, who are you gonna go listen to? Are you gonna listen to, like, let's say are you listening to Dr. Sebi, who is like, you know what I mean, like a nutritional god, and he lived his life and then gave you all the teaching on how you should be eating as melanated people? Or are you gonna go listen to this white doctor who's, you know, studied maybe medicine for like 7 years, and because he's probably from a certain group, then you're just gonna follow and listen to him over this one black guy because you don't believe that black man can do anything great already the moment you do that. Like, we need to re-centralize the way we look at things. Like, it's okay for us to get to this point where we have, like you were saying, we need to be selfish. It's okay for us, because you go back and you find out, how do you fix a country? You go and you find out the group of people who are in dire situations, and what is the percentage of it. Like, and in this country, unfortunately, black people are like high up there in the numbers. So it means they're not really helping us, because we shouldn't be high in the numbers. So the moment they don't, then we gotta take ownership, and then we gotta be like, you know what, at this point, since this government is not helping us, then it's time that we get up and then we help out our community. And helping our community, you know, what we're doing right now is helping our community, you know, because we over here, we could be doing everything else. I could be out there rapping about females, you know, and I could be out there talking about money. I could be out there rapping and making music and then just not really guiding you or giving you words of guidance, but instead I choose to be over here and to spread this knowledge to you so that you start loving yourself and understanding yourself, learning knowledge of self. So you get to a position where the things that you believed were true might not be true. And in the moment you start questioning yourself and you start rocking with this, then you start saying that your life is going to completely change. Once you feel like your life is completely changed, now you're looking at the world for what it is, and then you're using the same power that we created. We created all of this. Money, this doctrine, like all of it was mainly created by black people. So if we created it, then we can actually use that same power to steer it on the right direction. I think, like I was saying, like we need to have more ego. We say that we have ego, but our ego is misplaced. We don't place our ego in the right position. Having ego means, yo, I'm gonna be a leader for my community. If I'm getting the influence, then I'm using this influence that I have to be a leader in my community. You know what I mean? What
I was trying to remember your name, Gorgeous.
Alex.
No, the other one.
What's your name?
Alexandra.
No, Gorgeous.
What's your
Hi,
Instagram
Gorgeous.
name?
Hi, Gorgeous.
I'm high, not
H-I-H.
So-
H-I-G-H, yeah.
Where's your name come from? Why Hi Gorgeous? Explain that
Just
to us.
something I thought of randomly. They banned my other Instagram page, and I had to think of something quick, and
Hold on.
that's it.
What?
Across
What?
all platforms. It's
Yeah. You said don't go personal, but
Hi Gorgeous with 2 S's.
2 S's?
gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you.
Except my Snapchat, it has 4 S's. But to add to what you were saying earlier, I think people underestimate, like you're saying that like they only had this much education. Not only that, they could know all this stuff. People underestimate how calculating and evil they are. Like they want
Yeah, I
us
was
to
gonna get
do
to
bad.
that.
They want to give us sicknesses. And your refusal to believe that just because they've been given this power, like you somehow blindly follow anyone that has power because they have power. That's crazy to me. Like you need to know and realize and look at the facts that people like. There is conspiracies, but some are not conspiracies. They really do plot against us to keep us from doing better because they know that we are more powerful. You know
Here's
what
the
I'm
thing.
saying?
Like
That's why they gotta keep us down and weak because we are more powerful.
You saying more powerful, like the numbers alone, right? Here's the thing. Here's the funny part about that. What you're saying. Who actually has the most numbers when it comes to, like, let's say, for instance,
Yeah.
groups in America and stuff like that? Who has the most
Mexicans.
numbers? Now, who has the most numbers when it comes to? Hold on, brother. Who has the most numbers when it comes to people in the world? Period. Point blank.
I don't know. Chinese?
Black people. Black people have the highest
Oh, it
number
is?
when it comes to the world.
I thought it was Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, there's black people all over the world. Like we travel, like you go to every single country you go, you will see a community of black people there. You go to Paris have the most black people that ever existed. Like there's like,
I mean, but how
Like-
are you labeling
No,
black?
he's saying
like
in the
there's
world.
white, brown, and then what?
because brown people mainly is seen as black people. You black and brown seen as black people. Because
I'm not seen as a black person. I'm a brown
Yeah,
person.
yeah. I know, like you're not, but you just say that you had like 20% of
I
East
know.
Africa,
Now
so-
I'm like,
So
but see, I'm
it
not.
makes you a little bit like when you think about it, it makes you because once you have you from an African descent, then you are from the melanated, like then it
Yeah.
gives you that tone on your skin. Like me, I probably have white people in me too. I don't know, but because I was born in Senegal and my dad's from the islands, and the Cape Verde Islands was like mainly a slave island, so a lot of mix happened there, like with the Portuguese.
Yeah, Mexican too.
Yeah, so it's just like the same thing happened
Yeah.
with Mexico. The same thing happened with all the other Caribbean.
Also, because like Mexico took in a lot of slaves when that was going on. They said you're free as long as you get across the border. You're free. That's why there's a lot of
Trail of
Afro
tears.
Latinos.
Yeah, we all
Trail of
like
tears.
Mexicans are mixed with black people mainly.
Mhm.
Like that's what the race is. More
Oh.
indigenous black people.
It's a
You know?
big, like, they don't really talk about it that much, which is kind of like the Mexican government don't really talk about it that much. A lot of the people there, they don't really talk about it that much. But when you do get them to start talking about it, they start talking about their, like, African ancestry and like how they actually are, like, I forgot the name of the, negrinos or something like that.
Mestizos. Mestizos?
It's something similar to that. I forgot what I heard somebody said.
Negrito or something?
No, not negritos. No.
We don't say
We're
that.
gonna get in trouble. But it's something close to what you were just saying.
Yeah.
I just can't remember exactly how they said it, but like it's a whole like.
So was it the actual tribe, or they just called?
No,
them,
they
like,
still have their cultural ties because they were able to escape before, like, you know, they got fully encompassed by the slave trade. So like what happened was we have like a couple of so for instance within America we only have but so many Indian cultures that are considered like legally Indian by the American government.
Are you talking about native?
Yeah, Native Americans.
Yeah, I think
right?
it's offensive to call them Indian.
What Native Americans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, what? Because like still in the paperwork they have it as Indian, but like, they call them Native American Indians.
Yeah.
But like the thing about it is that just the paperwork. So like when I'm like describing it though, you have the legal groups and then you have the situation of the groups that aren't legal, like the Lumbees, for instance, right? They're a group of Native Americans, but yet they're not considered legally Native American. So they don't really get paid, even though they're a whole group that has their ancestry all the way tracked back and all that type of stuff like that. But then you had the Seminoles, right? When you got the Seminoles, you have the Seminoles and you got a couple of other ones. But I can't remember right now, and that's bad that I can't remember. But like so for instance, with the Seminoles, they got chased down to Florida. But then the thing about it was them being chased down to Florida was a part of the situation of America trying to, one, get rid of the Native Americans that were aggressive, but then two, stop the Africans that were escaping and going to the Native Americans and becoming a part of the Native American tribes. And then after a while, they were kicking ass so well that these motherfuckers had to bring a bunch of different states together just to start fighting the Native Americans in these combination Native American and African slaves together. Like, then on top of it, some of them, when it comes to the Seminole Nation, it was just Africans fighting. But then another thing that people don't understand and realize too is black people were already here as groups in tribes and all that type of stuff, living in harmony with all the other fucking groups until these motherfuckers came.
You go back to the Moors. You were looking at the Moors. The Moors were like the biggest travelers. They already had went around the world. You know what I mean?
That was part of that. Was how that's how Christos found out about fucking America in the first place. Because a fucking Moor brought him over here because he rented him to be able to sail the seas for them because they didn't know how to sail. Like, not all the way over here. So then they got some Moors that were going back and forth already doing trade with the Americas, and like they was like, where you get the spice from? Where you get this from? Where you get that from? Oh, over there in the new land. What new land? What are you talking about? Queen.
I'm a Moor, by the way.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God, Queen. I found something. There's some new land over there that we could go and, you know, check out. I promise you I'll bring you riches and gold and everything like that. Who the fuck are you, man? Who are you, little man, begging me for boats? Oh, I'm just Christos. Just a humble guy that I come from a rich family. Lie. And then, like all the stuff he told them, and then all of a sudden they gave him enough money to come the fuck over here, gave him some boats to come the fuck over here, and he just massacred
he went
native
back,
after
he went
native
back
after
said,
native group.
He said I found a people, but he never really found the people. He got completely lost in there because he had no sense of direction. You know? Listen.
That was after he got lost. That was after. After he came back here, he already had an idea of what the fuck he was going to do. Like, you can see it in his paperwork.
He got lost and found a group of people. Then when he went back,
when the Moor brought him here, he wasn't lost.
Yeah.
When they fucking sailed their asses all over the place, they were lost. But when the Moor brought him here, they weren't lost. That when he got an actual person who knew how to sail the seas of go back and forth from Newfoundland, knew how to actually go up or across that the Atlantic area where it's like this nice little stream of fucking water, right? That's really fucking hot. And it's a night, like before it took you too long to get back and forth because they didn't know how to actually navigate the ocean to the parts where once they hit this one particular stream, it just like carried them really quickly back over to here. So like now that they but the Moors, they knew that part. They knew how to sail it at night, and they knew how to sail it when actually the streams of ocean was actually at its fastest, and that's how they got their asses over here. If it wasn't for them, everything would have been good.
This is what it did. He went back and it was like, yo, I just saw this group of people, and they have such advanced technology, but they're not doing anything with it. Because this is what they were thinking. They were thinking conquering. All these people, like, they were not thinking like we were doing it we are the originals who actually did it for power. We did it for the power, because we understood that the earth is energized. We needed power to be out here. If we connected with the earth, then we would get power, and we would get powerful, and then we would have a higher level of knowledge and all that. People, they didn't do it to conquer lands. Like the natives that were here, they were not conquering land. Who were those natives? Who were them? Like Moors. Moors were moving along different land for the longest time. And then you go back, and then you had it up earlier where it says like that's what's called the New Spain and Portugal. That's not the only place since you will see Moors. What they found it. Go back to it right now. I don't know if you still have it. So they came here, they saw these people, they had all this potential, they were not doing anything with it. They were not trying to conquer anybody. And they were like, yo, if we have all this, this land, this rich land and this technology, we can go and conquer everybody. So they came out here with that intention of conquering. Like it's been conquered from day one. Conquer is still because they learned the power through us. They were like, yo, with this power I can go conquer. We didn't use this power to conquer.
But it's because of the situation, adding to what you're saying. If you look at their land in particular, you got to realize that they didn't have. So when it came down to it, let's say for instance the Isles of Europe, right? The Isles of Europe doesn't have that richness in soil and a bunch of things that can grow there, that in which like where the other areas were, they had an abundance of, where they didn't really have to start engineering to be able to make certain things to be able to grow and love and live and so on and so forth. But they had to actually farm for certain things. They had to actually take from each other. We were in war over certain things, right? When it came down to, like, say for instance, you go to the Africas. It was mostly a situation it was a tribal situation in which they didn't agree with each other. They were conquering and killing each other all the time. You would have a couple of people fight here and there, and that's it with the African situations. They would literally raid each other. They would literally kill off whole areas. They would literally just like constantly back to back to back, war after war after war. And we didn't have those same rules and concepts. So when they actually started franchising their shit and bringing it outside of Europe, everybody else was like, yo, what are you doing? It's plenty here. Here you go. We don't want nothing from you. You hungry? You need something to, someplace to sleep? Just come over here. We got you. And we kept fucking up. We kept fucking up because every time we did it, they came back and wanted more. And that's the difference between when it came to the Europeans' mindsets and the, let's say, for instance, every other indigenous group that's on their land still to this day that all of a sudden has nothing, but yet we know they're the original occupants of that area. And that's the craziest part about it. Like, everybody knows, every group knows, oh yeah, they're the originals. Yeah. Like, for instance, there's an original group of people in Japan, right, that gets subjugated as hell. They push them out to the mountains. They're black as fuck. They even say you can't be a true samurai without one drop of black blood. Yep. Craziest thing in the world. But yeah, we don't really like that. I'll say for black people, for them to look at it and not notice that part is astounding, because again, when it comes to, like, I don't know about like outside of America, black people, I feel like to me it felt, I remember the first time I saw Atlanta, and I saw the situation of Atlanta before it turned into what it is now, right?
Have you been to Atlanta?
No.
Like,
oh wait, yes, I have driven past it, but not like stayed there.
the very first time I saw the airport, I was like, oh my God, look at all these rich black people. It's not just a few. Because I'm used to seeing like family members and stuff like that. And there's like a few black rich people. No, Atlanta felt like, wow. Like you see them dressed and like they're walking prestigious, backs up straight.
I first
you
saw
see
that
the
in
power.
Houston.
Houston?
Yeah.
Man, like I would look. I gotta go because I haven't gone to
I haven't
Texas
gone to
yet.
Houston yet,
It
but I
was
know-
a certain part. I mean, obviously it has its bad areas, but it was.
Yeah, and it's the same with Atlanta, but it just the bad areas got bigger.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's just like I feel like Atlanta is probably like the only state that's doing it on the bigger scale. Like they do have there's still a problem that lingers, but as far as like people doing things on a bigger scale, Atlanta is probably like the first state right now when it comes to it. Like as far as black people.
Here you go. Look,
You know?
because we think about it as state. It's a city though, but we do think about Atlanta as the
okay,
whole
Georgia.
as the whole Georgia
As
too.
the city, yeah.
You once
Yeah.
you go out of the fucking area,
Yeah, it's full of white people.
It ain't the same. It ain't the same. But it's wild though, because
Yeah.
like that experience alone, that was the first time I saw the prominence and the strength of black people overall. And then when I left the country, and then I started seeing it, like seeing black people who were different, where like, you know, they weren't American. And it was like, hold on, like you don't act like a black person. And I realized, wait, that's not acting black. That's
such a toxic way of thinking about it, but that's how they want it here because it keeps you in a certain position.
because here's the thing, like what you just said, it keeps you in a certain position. I realized like I had certain parts. I have the rich part of my family, and then I got the poor part of my family. The rich part don't act, but the poor part acted
Because
what they acted like.
You got to think about like black isn't a race. You know what I mean? Like black is not an ethnicity.
Black don't even exist.
It's just the ideology of everybody for the color of your skin. It's not a race. Like a lot of these people are from different ethnicity, different tribes. They can't think the same way.
I'm sorry, but
You know?
I don't think I look black, because I'm pretty fucking brown. Like and when I get darker, I turn kind of purple. So like
Niggas purple, yeah.
no, I'm serious. Like when I start like, you know, tanning and all that type of stuff, because I love like when it's summertime, I'm in the sun, I don't give a fuck. Like I love when I get darker. I say I gotta recharge on my chocolate, right? So like my thing is I like when I get darker, because then I also get this glow.
All right, let me go back to what I was saying, because I was getting to a point, bro. Like so like there's no such thing as.
I love how you cut me off.
There's no such thing, yeah, bro, because you cut me off too. I was talking, and then you cut me up, and I had an idea, and I was going. You need to let me finish speaking and say my words.
Gotcha.
So
All right, we're gonna have to do separate podcasts.
Let me say, bro, you cut me off like.
No, go ahead.
So I was saying, I was going somewhere with the whole black thing. It's like black isn't a race. Like we need to stop looking at black as being a race. Black is just the color of our skin. Like different people come from different ethnicities. They have different ways of living, different tradition. Then they're gonna have different mentalities. You know what I mean? It's okay. I just feel like it's okay. I think what we need to do, we need to normalize, you know, people from a same ethnicity and tribe getting together, but building in the name of power. Because if we're doing it in different and using different ethnicities, like in different state, also like you see black people from different state act differently. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It means it's different ethnicity. So if we get to the point where like we're joining forces, and then let's say Atlanta has this mentality and these people act like this, now they're building this big nation. You go to Virginia where there's black people, they have the same ethnicity. They mean they're connecting. So it's easier to do for you to build with your family. You know what I mean? We need to normalize building with our family. So you need to normalize building with your wife and children, like and putting the rest of your family. But it's so frowned upon. Like I feel like in our community, like a lot of people don't want to hire their family and work with their family. They say, nah, I can't work with family. You should be working with your family, because your family, you love them. Like there's that real love, is that real connection. We should be able to employ our family and work with our family and build with our family.
Should be.
Yeah.
But you ever work with somebody close to you and they don't respect you the same way that the person who doesn't know you respects you? Mm-hmm. Like the other person who doesn't know you respects you at such a high level and such a high degree that they will do everything to the highest power But then for some reason, the person who knew you when you was a little kid and you shit your pants, for some reason, they keep talking about when you shit your pants 50
Too
years
comfortable.
ago. So that's the only reason why I say I think they can't because of the comfortability of it. But it's not in our culture to be able to do it like that because we don't.
You will come back to the cult again. You know what I mean?
It's a respectability factor.
It's a cult. Family, you go back to the biggest civilization like that built kings and all that. Kings built with their family. You know what I mean? It's like nowadays, okay, we need to normalize things like people have the idea that everybody that came from Africa were kings. Nah. You know what I mean? Everybody's just like, yo, I'm a king. No, like we were mainly farmers.
You the king of your
mainly
castle.
Farmers. We were mainly like we were smart people. We had advanced technology when it comes to how we farmed. We invented things, but not all of us were kings. You know what I mean? So it's like we got to normalize the idea of building without family, because regardless, you say you could go and work with somebody, but let's say how many times people go and work with somebody that's from an outsider. You know what I mean? And then you get to the point where like you all start gaining success, and all of a sudden that person turns on you, and then now you're on your own running. I could give you examples of great leaders who went on with friends or people they knew or people they trusted, and those people were their downfall in the end. Your family would never kill you. Your family
you
would
think
never.
So?
Your family would.
I mean,
your close family.
My family has done me dirty than any stranger I've met. I've traveled a lot, and strangers have been there for me more than any.
Like, would they physically take your life from you?
There's a couple people in my family who absolutely would.
I don't know. Well, I'm
Really?
overpowering. So like the moment that I even see, because I always pay attention to certain patterns. So like the moment that I see that a person would move on me like that, highly likely. If they're not already cut off, they're literally cut. So like I got stabbed by my own fucking cousin.
It happens. It's fucked up, and I like that you think like that, because obviously that hasn't been your story.
Then it's the root of that problem. Then we need to work on that root of that problem, because
it's here. Is the root of the problem is in the stemming in the culture of like the crab in the barrel type mindset with this place in particular.
It's also the cult that we don't apply these things. It's not like we most of us isn't. Some of us are. Some people, I can give you examples that people that work with like as a family, and it's working out for them. The whole Marley family. It's the whole family. How great have they become since the death of Bob Marley? Like,
but
I'm gonna give you examples more. I could give you more.
Because somebody who's outside of that situation, that I don't revere them as much as like, let's say for instance that you do, right? But in my mind, only thing I know is how they're living off of the memory. I don't see them building the next person who is holding the mantle of. Look, which is like, when I see it, okay, cool beings, like, and that's what I would want, like the next who is the either the multiple
Doesn't he
kings.
have like 13 kids and like 4 of them have like a music career, or 5?
Yeah, but like which one of them are really like holding down like his legacy like that?
They're all holding the legacy.
Yeah.
They're all holding it. Like,
who's leading it?
I mean, Ron Marley is the one, mainly the businessman in the family. He's the one that pretty much runs a lot of the business side. But in the end of the day, they're all working for this foundation. But Ron Marley is the one that does most of the work.
But you get what I'm saying? Like,
but he's not really.
My statement began with, I don't revere them as much.
This is what I'm saying.
Because I don't revere them as much, I don't know. So my main statement is, who's the king of their castle?
I don't think there is a king in that castle. I think when I say working with your family, employ your family, it's like you all understand this is what my role is in this whole thing. Like, Ron Marley understands his role. David Marley understands his role. Stephen Marley, they all playing a role to the real king in the whole thing is the name. It's Bob Marley as a brand. That's the real king.
Now, it shouldn't be Bob Marley. It should be the Marleys. Now, the thing is, Bob Marley's dead. He's gone.
I know, but
his legacy is through his children.
Exactly.
His children should be raising past the point of Bob, because they're 2.0 and not 1.0.
So what you're saying is that they should be forgetting about the king or the greatest. Like we haven't forget.
That's not what I'm saying. Like you build upon
I understand
the
what you're
structure that
saying,
was put
but
before you. So it's not forgetting anything. It's the situation
they're
of
building from that greatness. But we gotta say that if there was a prophet or a messenger in this whole thing, it would be Bob Marley. Everybody gonna work towards that. So we're building this family lineage. But who was the first one who initiated it? Who got the influence?
1.0.
Exactly.
So now who's 2.0?
They're all running it. There's females in the family. There's Senator Marley.
They have to set somebody. They have to not only have succession.
Bro.
Because like what happens is this part right here. If it's diluted, nobody knows. And if nobody knows, it dies on the next 2 to 3 generations.
But my friend, it's not dying. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're talking over me. And I get what you're saying, but you got to understand where I'm coming from with this. There's thought process in this where it's a situation of every time there's a generational gap where there is no significance, it dies the next 2 to 3 generations. This is the reason why we have the same situation going on with black people, because there's no generational gap.
Did my shit went off? It go off.
Just tap the screen.
Tap the screen real quick. It went off. Why this shit's not charging?
It feels hot.
And now it's off. It turned up. There's no.
So.
Okay, well, what I was saying is he built it, and they're not trying to live off his name. They have made their own name for themselves.
Exactly.
And that name happens to be the same last name, so it's gonna keep growing.
It's gonna keep growing,
especially because he has so many kids.
Exactly.
No, I get that part. If it's diluted,
I know what you're saying. You're saying on the business side, but on the business side, everybody took ownership in that family. It's like it's not like it's only one person. That's
it's not like a royal lineage. It's a mute. Music.
They turned Bob Marley, like the name, into a brand. That's what they did. They turned their dad's name into a brand. But they're all involved in building that name. Like everything they do, it's like I have a brand. I'm gonna go and make a hair product for my brand. Then this is one thing that's running. It's feeding your brand. I'm gonna make music for my brand. Then it's feeding your brand. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna freaking build a car with that brand. Like there's so many places we could take this one brand. You know what I mean? And I don't want to look. I'm gonna look at it as an example. Now I'm not trying to go in there. I don't know how they run that business because I can't really speak on it. I can't tell you who does everything. I've seen the way I see it. I've seen Ron Marley make some move. I've seen Senator Marley make some move.
But do you get where I'm going with this part, right? Because it's not about the people who know about them. It's not about the people who know about them. It's about the people outside of the situation who are a part of them.
My friend, it's not gonna die out. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because
I hear what you're saying, but it doesn't matter what you're saying at this point. I'm gonna just go ahead and make sure I make the point now, because at this point, you're letting your love for them override what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is this: once the moment that the family does not have an actual center point anymore, once Bob does not really matter, right? Because his way of thinking and his way of being and all that shit is going to be to the wayside another 20 in like another 10 to 20 years, right? It's the next one. It's 2.0, the relevance of today, not the relevance of yesterday. Exactly. Because just a minute ago, grabbing them by the pussy wasn't a problem.
Okay.
You get where I'm going with this?
I understand where you're coming from.
Like the Trumps are not going to be like he doesn't have a good lineage after this. Yeah. Like hopefully it's Melania Trump, but past that point is nothing that's going to come.
It's like you're building a company. You constantly every generation will contribute to your company, or if you're building a company on enterprise or whatever you're building on entity, it's not going to be only. It's never going to be only Bob Marley, because Bob Marley, his seeds, like it comes from him. So whatever greatness he had, that transferred to his kid, and whatever he taught his children, that were able to realize that they need to work as a family to build this lineage, and they started working. Everybody working. 10 people is always better than one, and they're all working towards the same cause. It means the children. Now you see the grandkids growing up. The grandkids also working for that cause.
What should I know?
You know what I mean?
Like when it comes to, for instance, with them, what should I, for a person who doesn't give a fuck about the Marley family other than Bob, what should I know?
You should know that a lot of the Jamaican music that's coming out nowadays, all the new reggae artists, Damian Marley is producing them. They're coming out of the studio and they're over here getting Grammy awards and all that stuff and making money. He's still running the same foundation that his dad was founding. had when he was in Jamaica. He was feeding a lot of the Jamaica, giving them money for food. They're still running that through the Tough Gun studio. They're still doing a lot of the things that their father had started. Because Bob Marley was not a guy that actually went around and show off his money.
So,
he was giving away his money to the community.
So they're using the same channels that were built, right? And they're maintaining those channels.
Exactly.
What have they built past that point? What is the next evolution?
Well, you make it sound like that's nothing.
They built.
No. It's not nothing.
The next thing they've done, they built a whole fucking brand. And out of the brand.
Nah, he built that brand already.
Who built that brand?
He built that brand already.
Who?
Bob Marley built that brand already.
No, hold on.
His wife helped build that brand already.
No. Let me tell you something.
And
Bob Marley did not build his name. He built his name as a legend in the world in the music. But the brand was built by Bob Marley's children. The actual brand where they created products where they.
I'm saying this like this because I don't know them.
With their name.
Hold on. I'm not going against you.
Let me finish.
I'm letting you. I have to give a precursor for a reason.
Let me finish my sentence. So they built the House of Marley.
Adios, Dios.
They built the House of Marley in Canada. It's the House of Marley. It's built by Ron Marley. Made that move. Built House of Marley. They make him.
So they built the House of Marley in Canada.
Yeah, they have products that comes out of there. It is all like ecosystem product that they're using, like material. They're not using plastic and all stuff. All they're using do
those products only come from Canada?
I'm not sure where the products really come, bro. Like all that.
What I mean by that is is it only they can only get the stuff that they need to produce the product in Canada? That's why they didn't do it in Jamaica.
I'm not sure why they didn't do it in Jamaica. Like I said, you would have to ask them the question. But I'm sure they have their reason. But I'm sure also like these are also like
you love them.
It's not
you genuinely love them.
This is what listen.
I hear love.
Listen, it's not about love, bro.
I hear love.
It's not about love. It's about accepting the godliness in somebody and then seeing the great things that they're doing and you accept it. You don't criticize.
I'm a light bearer.
No. Listen, you don't criticize it if you don't elevate. You're not going to elevate it. You're not doing the work.
I'm not criticizing anything. What I'm doing is I'm putting. It's a mindset of a situation of when it comes down to the way that things are actually done and presented.
I can't really talk because I don't really know.
Because you filibustering instead of actually let me talk.
Yeah.
Like I get what you're doing, but I hear love.
Bro,
and the thing is like when I think about things, I think about things and the reality of it. I usually have to hold back because people don't like the things that are actually in my mindset of the reality of the situation. Right. But I'm cool with that. Okay, that's why I usually hold back.
Can you give me a second? And then I'll tell you my problem with you is not that how you perceive it. It's just that you don't letting me finish my sentences and you saying that I'm speaking over you. You know what I mean? So it's like you say something, I'll let you say what you say. And the moment I start speaking, you interject because you're following your emotion or what's happening in your mind, and you're not really listening to what I'm saying.
I was asking specific questions within what you were saying.
I'm saying so
it's not emotion. It's just I hear love.
Okay, that's what you hear, and I was about to explain to you what it was, and then you just cut me off and you keep going. And when I spoke over you, you said I'm talking over you. I'm not letting you speak, but it's you that's not letting me speak. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so
you asked me a question.
We got past the torch. Then at this point, we got so. You asked me let me know when you finish. Okay. So we can hear.
When you ask me a question, let me finish the whole sentence, and then I'll let you interject, and then you could say what you say. And we could have more of a civilized conversation where we're actually understanding each other. Because the moment you start doing that, then we're not really communicating anymore. So what I was saying is like I can't really speak about everything they do. What I can speak about is the example. Like I don't really know them like that, and I'm not gonna talk about things that I don't know because it makes me a hater. I ain't trying to hate on nobody. This is not what I'm here for. What I'm doing is I'm learning from the good things that they're doing that I can't see on a daily basis. I don't know how they're running their business. I don't know how they have this their whole foundation going. Because whatever it is, I'm seeing that they're successful doing it and it's working. So, and I'm seeing that whatever they're doing. The reason why I believe in what they're doing is because I see more of just themselves working with them. I'm saying the whole community in Jamaica, people fucking with the Marleys for the work that they're doing as people. Because, I mean, we can't shoot down. We can't be over here killing the gods. You know what I mean? I'm not here killing the gods. I'm going to learn from it. If it's good, I'll accept it. That, okay, this is something that's good for the community. All my guys
got killed already.
You know? So,
I'm going to be real with you.
We're killing all the gods with the way we're thinking we criticize. That's how we get to the point where we're killing the gods. Like we kill Nipsey Hussle. Like that. This mentality of
all right, my brother said I was speaking on feelings and emotion. I'm not.
Yeah.
My thing is, I don't know if he's talking to me or he's talking to you, but like my brother was like we gotta give some facts. My thing is, I don't know them to be able to give facts. I'm asking because, like, for a person who scrutinizes like me, like the type of people that we are, it makes it into a situation in which once we start looking at the actual facts of it, so maybe I don't know who he was talking to, but like once we start looking at the facts of it, it's going to fall apart the moment that we actually start paying attention to the little things. And it's going to be like, okay, boom, like what are their what is the foundation actually about? Where did they actually like who's the person right now who's leading the way to the point where there is undeniably a future coming up next, right? And then the main thing that'll happen is after they the next person who will come up next, not only is the family protected, but he's the focal point, and everybody protects the focal point. Right now, the focal point that was Bob Marley. And after Bob Marley has passed and all the other ones, if they don't rise up beyond his significance, it dies out. That's the reason why I'm saying who is next? Because unless you are built off of the situation of a mesh of kings, and you have a court set up where, like, for instance, Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, right? We know now that there always has to be an Arthur and there always has to be knights at the Round Table. But if those knights aren't there, it's not the same anymore. Who is the new knight that actually fits into Sir Lancelot's seat? Who is the next? Like, because that's what it was built off in the first place. Okay. So like that's what I'm saying. Like,
I don't disagree with you when you say that. I'm just saying that this is not really a question that you're gonna have to ask me. You're gonna have to ask that question to those people. Like, I'm not a Marley. You know what I mean? I'm not part of the family. I'm just respecting the work that I've seen them do. And then again, when you say rising up to Bob Marley, like we have this idea, like in our community, where we just think that we can only be great through the music. There's a lot of things you can do and be great at it, and it doesn't have to be entertainment. It doesn't have to be people putting a tag of fame on you or telling you the legend. You could be working in the back and doing a lot for your community and makes you a legend that you don't have to be seen. You not seeing it doesn't mean it's not there. But I can't really speak of the things I don't see. What I can speak of is what's coming out and what I see they doing on a daily basis. But that's asking this question is a question you want to ask a Marley. You would have to bring a Marley here, and then you would ask them that question, because that's really regarding their family.
I would ask it. Like, to me, it would be
exactly. So I wouldn't be the question. I wouldn't be the guy you asked that question. Me, I was just referring to that because I was trying to make a point that we should be working with our family and growing with our family, and they're an example of people who working as a family. And then 19 keys in his family, you know what I mean? The whole family working together, you know what I mean? And understanding that, okay, we have one goal, we have one purpose. You know, my family is my counsel. I'm gonna build this lineage with my family, because your family is always gonna be the easiest people for you to work with, because y'all grew up with the same, you know, in the same environment with the same parents. You know, you probably share the way you think. Maybe yes, maybe not. Some do, some don't.
Oh, you talk about immediate family.
Like
immediate nuclear family.
Like your exactly. Building with your immediate
even
family.
Then, like I
because I see it on your face.
I have heard this story where like there was two kids of an alcoholic, abusive dad, and they asked that one of them became successful and, you know, wealthy, whatever, and then one of them became alcoholic and abusive dad. And when asked why did you become this way, they both said watching their dad. So you can literally watch someone do the same thing, and the way you process it, it'll make you a different person. Like me, my sister, completely different people. Like you would never think that we're related. And
yeah,
so you're saying that you would never be, let's say, I'm gonna put it like that. So when God blesses you with like $1 million, you have $1 million now. You got $1 million in your hand. You're able to build like a big brand for yourself. Like, so you had this $1 million. You want to build a company. Would you not employ your family?
Absolutely not. No one in my family.
Damn. I agree with you.
So no one in my. I'm alone.
No, it depends.
Yeah. I'm out here alone in the world, so I don't see nobody here when I'm struggling. And
so if you were a millionaire and you saw your family struggling out there, like you have a good
my family
life,
in Mexico, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, ask all it.
Some-
We'll
some-
respond to the
some
questions
of
and stuff
them-
like that if y'all are in
No,
there.
I would absolutely let them. They deserve that.
Like, it depends on
That's
what
not
side
my-
of my family it is too. Like,
I would more help a stranger than the people that I've known because I've seen what they are capable of.
like on my, I would say, and it's kind of bad. And
It's bad that
I
we
love
think
some
like
of them.
that,
I love
you know?
some of them, and I still got love for them and stuff like that. But like on my mother's side, it would be hard for me to actually participate with something with them, and yeah, it would be hard for me to participate with something with them. On my stepfather's side and my father's side, it would be a lot easier for me to do so because, truthfully, on my father's side alone, I think like them and I wasn't even fully raised with them. Like, I actually have direct thought processes that fit them too well, and I wasn't even raised with them. But yet, on my stepfather's side, they gave me morals. They were like these Christian people that like gave me this base that was wholesome and good, and like even if I don't know anything that they've done wrong. I don't know anything they've done wrong. But on my mother's side,
I'm the same, exactly the same.
Like, exactly. It's like, when do we get to the point? Like I'm saying, like a lot of it, like we can't really blame the situation so much on the people. Sometimes it's circumstantial. People become the way they are based on the environment. It doesn't really define the person. So like I'm just saying, like maybe I see things differently. I'm not gonna, my family isn't perfect at all. Like it's not. I could tell you a lot of story. I don't think they're gonna kill me though. Like I don't think they would go that far. You know, that sounds really crazy. That sounds like the end of the time. Like I don't want to think like that.
You'd be amazed
yeah.
by stories I could tell you.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it's hard for me to. But the way I see it is like maybe I should change it to like.
let me ask you a question then. Like, do you think your family is more authentically American, right? Because here's the thing. Your family, like, no, it's to everybody at this table right now, right? Because I think at one point my family wasn't authentically American until certain grandmothers and like great parents died. The moment that the generation before me took over, matter of fact, the moment that the generation before me took over, that's when everything fell to shit. Like the people who should have took over to make the family stay together and all that, they didn't want the responsibility of it. And then all of a sudden, it was like the long extended family connections that we had, they all disappeared. And it was like, yo, what the fuck? Like we was just having family reunions every year. And then all of a sudden, all that shit just bounced, right? Like it just, and then all of a sudden we started becoming like white people, where the only family is the family in your house, and or like close in that vicinity.
I like where he said there's no structure, there's no hierarchy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think exactly. We gotta. I guess.
So is it the same across the board, or like? Because I don't know. Like, I know what happened to mine, but like I don't know exactly what happened with what you were saying with yours and with yours.
So, no, I'll let her speak. So, what do you think? Like, why do you think like you can't work? Why is it that you can't work with your family?
Oh my God!
I'm not asking personal things. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No.
Do you think that you would ever be able to, like, let's say if you're met, your life completely changed, and what was a reality for you today, it's not a reality for you tomorrow. Now you thinking more like, now I got all this money, I want to build.
That's actually gonna happen to me.
Yeah.
I was running this shop in LA, and they raided us twice. The guy that owned it, he paid for 20 years. So now we have a lawsuit against LAPD. They offered us $15 million. That's actually gonna happen to me. One day I'm gonna be living a whole different reality than what, and it's already 2 years going. Like this year is probably gonna be the year that my whole life changes, like dramatically. And I promise, there's certain people that I'm not gonna help, that they literally were.
Yeah, I'm not saying about helping.
She's gonna have to go to another state. Another country for a little while.
I'm never leaving Los Angeles.
I'm not saying helping your family. I'm saying employ.
No, I don't want them near me. That's helping them. That's giving them a steady position, you know, that comfort that they never provided me as a child. Yeah, you're tripping. Get out of here.
Wow, and she said as a child.
As
Wow.
a child.
I'm thinking as
you'd be,
like
mind blown.
as a like young adult, but like damn, you thought you going that far
My
back?
mom tried to kill me when I was a child. So
Well, she didn't say
So-
that. So
I'm saying,
So-
just
so
so
let
you
me- let me-
understand how
let me-
extreme. I'm so serious.
yeah, woo.
Okay.
Is that not allowed here?
Well,
Honesty?
Yeah,
no,
you
no,
can
no,
use-
no,
you can
not
use the word.
honesty.
No,
It's the
The
word.
word.
So
The word.
Oh.
for some reason
Before he's
they'll
using it.
kill your
Unalive.
whole
Unalive.
yeah on the live, and it's like weird as fuck.
They'll shut down.
I can
your-
say that part
they'll
though,
cancel you.
but you can't say the word.
Okay.
So we usually say like deleted.
Oh, it's
Delete.
YouTube.
It's
Yeah, it's YouTube.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
No, it's his channel, so I don't.
yeah. Like so you can't say
I
deleted.
guess it's a word.
Like you gotta learn what the bylaws
My
on
mom
that
almost
one is too.
deleted my
Oh, I
existence.
think we're cool. We're good with Bigo.
All right.
We're good with Bigo. But
So yeah.
But let me ask you, like, let me tell you, like, so you ready to start, like, it's like, if you decide that, okay, I have millions, I'm not gonna employ my family. It means you have to build a whole new family.
Yes.
No, I don't. I've been
How
on my
many
own
how
this
many
long.
kids do you want to have?
A lot.
Yeah, you go. You're gonna have to have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So
'Cause-
go ahead.
yeah, so you ready to build this new family and
Okay,
raise
yeah,
family,
in that
and then
way,
just
yeah.
remove your everything that happened in the past. So it's
No,
like you're
no.
starting out from the first
My
generation.
dad is still. I'm still close to my dad. He taught me a lot,
Oh.
and I appreciate him. And him. He'll be set for life. Absolutely, the day that I am. And his side of the family, I'm cool with. If there is a way I can employ them, then yeah, I would hit his. I guess I'm thinking
see
of.
what I'm saying?
I guess
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the family here. So.
So here you go. I'll say this part. There's this saying, and it is your friends and the family you make is God's apology for the family that He gave you.
I ain't got no apologies yet.
It's gonna come. It's gonna come.
Yeah,
But the
sure.
thing is, you gotta cultivate it. And you gotta make sure that you know exactly who you're dealing with. But like, usually you have some people that came into your way like through like let's say reasons, seasons, lifetimes. You know that statement,
Mhm.
right? That helped you, that guided you, that put you in a good little space. That, for instance, that hired you and got you in a situation where you might have a couple million coming your way. So you know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, I ran that shit. That's all because of me.
See.
But I am very comfortable with understanding that people are just there for a season, and like you said, a reason and a season. I like that.
You gotta
But-
realize it. Some people, they don't realize that it's about that.
And I just let it go. I'm not
Mhm.
like dwelling. I don't hold resentment just because you're out of my life now. That doesn't make sense. We were in each other's life for that point for a reason, and that's that.
And then some people, they could be like a situation of repeat. Like, you know how you got a TV show where they come back on later on, like, oh, they go like Urkel
Maybe you
again.
didn't finish
Yeah.
learning your lesson.
Yeah. Oh well, no.
And-
I'm hoping not the not the bad people. But I get what you're saying though.
No, I mean not everyone that you learn a lesson from is a bad person. They
Yeah.
just have something to teach you,
So
and
let
you
me-
didn't learn
Okay.
it.
Okay. I was thinking about the bad
Let me
side.
ask you a question. I just want, because I feel like I haven't heard you speak a lot.
Yeah,
so
you
I just
call
want
me.
you to speak more. So, a question. So when you get the 15 million, like you get the 15 million, you get the 15
It's gonna be
million. So
more.
what?
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you see yourself doing, like 2 years,
Shit.
3 years from now?
I don't know. I just, I've been through so much in my life that I'm not pretending like it's real. Like I'm not until that money is in my hand am I going to get my hopes
Yeah.
up or anything, because I've just been
So
through so much.
forget
that
about the 15 million, because nobody, like, you don't know where the money comes. So forget about the 15 million. What do you see yourself like in 2-3 years? Like, what plans do you have for your life?
Well, I'm writing my book, my story. I'm not sure if it's going to be both a book and a docuseries or what, but I think I need to tell my story, like all my stories that I have. So I'm going to be doing that. I don't know. I have
So
a lot of ideas.
like I said, like when you visualize yourself, like you close your eyes and
I don't.
and then you do it right now. We're gonna do it right now. So, like, I want you to think of the greatest version of yourself. I want you to close your eyes, and then when you close your eyes, I want you to tell me, like, who do you see? Like, who do you see you as being like 3 years, and then just don't have no restraint. Just say it, pretty much everything is the first thing that comes
I'm
in your
on
mind.
one
you
of
know?
those like self-sustaining
Yeah.
houses where I have like a big garden and the runoff shower water feeds the garden, and I'm completely
You
living
speaking my language. Go ahead. I like to hear
self-sustained,
that.
taking care of all these kids. Wait, that's only 3 or 4 years. That's not. I won't have
4
all
years?
these kids.
4 years, you can't probably only have 4.
Look, her ass gonna have
Oh,
twins.
hell.
Start having like 3-day
That's
triplets.
a challenge. Yeah, that's true. That would be
Check.
amazing.
What's good? We got a call in right now.
What's going on, brother?
What's going on with you? Can you hear us?
Great, how's it going? Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
We hear you, bro.
Yes, clearly.
All right. There we go. There we go.
Thanks for joining in, my brother.
So, how far in the conversation have you been listening to us? By the way, this is Mr. Curtis. Mr. Curtis, big bro. Well, how you doing?
Phenomenal. Happy.
I like that.
It's Saturday over there now, right? Happy
Yes.
Saturday now.
Happy Saturday, bro.
Oh yeah, same to you because it's like 3 hours ahead. What is it like? What time is it?
It's probably
Oh
like
wow, it's like 4 in the morning. You must have.
You
just came from the club. You just came from the
Yeah, I
club.
did.
partying hard, man. He's partying hard, yo.
Out there in Atlanta.
Oh, damn. So we know what's up.
Putting the what's the name of it? The Puntec in their faces. I don't know what the name of that watch is.
Paytech Philippe.
Let's just say.
Paytech Philippe. That's the Nautilus. 5700.
This man out there putting $250,000 in people's faces on a regular. Look, I keep telling you to wear that damn watch. But anyway, so what was the situation that you actually called in for? Like, what was on your mind?
No, I caught up with the Barb Molly stuff, and I sent you some messages, and I agree where what you were saying. The gentleman, you're speaking out of love and emotions and feelings. It's okay, but at the end of the day, we need facts and data.
I mean, I was agreeing with him though, and I don't necessarily love them.
You need to, you need to understand,
Okay.
brother. Let me just piggyback on that because it's direct to me. So, and I can speak for myself. You know, I'm a god out here. So, like, you need to understand that I wasn't really backing up what they were saying. Like, when I was making the reference with the Marleys, I was making the reference based of like we should be working with our family. Because to me, it's the best structure.
Oh, okay.
Like that's why I made that reference, and it started asking,
Fan-
he
okay.
started talking about a lot of like what he saw as like, it was getting very personal to what the Marley was doing, and me, I hate to speak like a hater. I don't know what they're doing, bro. I tell you the truth, I can't tell you everything. I can only know what they're showing, you know. But
That's the language of a New Yorker. We
I was
gonna
just like-
look at it like, oh, that shit ain't shit until you prove it's shit.
I wasn't really giving them no credit. I just feel like, yo, they're doing great things in the community, and I can only, you know, respect that part of it. I don't know what else they're doing. I don't know what they got going on for themselves. Like, I'm worried about my own shit. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Well, I can speak to that because, sorry to cut you off, because my sister is a judge in Jamaica and sits on the Supreme Court there.
Yeah.
So I know what's going on. I have my finger on the pulse of what's going on in Jamaica. With that being said, the family structure, really, it's not really great to do business with your family because those are the people that are going to take advantage of you before anyone else.
I understand that.
So, unless you have the same, the same type of drive and determination and focus, then you shouldn't do business with family.
Exactly. So you would have to already have the position. Like, we'd have to be very well positioned to work with your family. Like, it's like you would have like you would have to really be for your family. You would have to really be that guy that they know. Okay, we can trust him to guide or to lead because we've seen him throughout like him growing up, the things that he did. You know, so your family would pretty much want to work with you because they've seen you in action. You know.
But that's the thing. Like there's a lot of family that you're the good one, you're the one that's doing great, and they fucking shun you.
But listen, the way I'm saying is like there's blessings in doing things for your family. If you believe in more of a spiritual thing, we have this connection. So it's like for me, it's like I'll still offer. I'll still be like, yo, now I got all this money, I got everything going on for me. I want to make you this. You take the job, it's a job. I'm employing you. You don't want to take it, somebody else will take it. But the first people that I put at the forefront will be my family, the people that I grew up with, people that's close to me, that I know they're my family, because I know they will never come to kill me. You know what I mean? Everybody else.
Well, your families might not even be equipped to take on, you know, what you have them to take on. I mean, honestly speaking,
they might not be fit to take on the position.
Equipped to.
Yeah.
Equipped. Yeah, I agree with that, and that's why I would be like, yo, you getting a whole training. You got to learn these things if you want to be if you want to take this job, you gotta learn how to do it. Like, I'm all about learning. Like, why can't we learn? Why can't we utilize our brain and go study books to learn those things? Like, if I'm telling you, I'm gonna give you this position, you shouldn't just go to that position. You should learn so you can be able to have this knowledge and apply this knowledge, or get the information and apply this knowledge to that position that you got. Like, I wouldn't want anybody that's not experienced. I would be like, you need to learn this first. You know what I mean? I'll be like, okay, read this book, this book, this book.
Yo, but we family, bro. Like I should just, like, you should just give it to me anyway, bro.
Nah, bro, it's just not how it works. But this is not what's gonna get me there. I understand now.
What you mean, you already got it.
Exactly. For me,
your pockets is big. What you mean?
I understand that, but for me to get to that position, it means that I have acquired the amount of knowledge, I have put in the work to get to that stage. So if I'm gonna employ my family and empower my family needs to match my power. You know, I can't be working with my like I said, it's a take it or leave it situation. I don't really have to employ my family, but they're the first ones I would put on the forefront. Like, I want to work with my family. I'd rather just work with my family, because there's this level of trust that I'm gonna have for the family that I'm not probably gonna have for a stranger. You know what I mean?
What you have to do is this: you have to have a clear, concise plan. You have to already have a business that's built.
Exactly.
And then you have to hand off. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Put it into the, okay, so for example, my sisters, all right, I'm going to hand Michelle, she's a retired military veteran, retired as one of the highest ranking women in the military. She could be a CEO of my company when I hand over my consulting firm. She has a master's and a PhD in organizational business. Guess what? She's a great people person. She can deal with people. She can run a business, but she cannot negotiate. I'm a fucking great negotiator.
I see that.
Ty will tell you this.
Yeah, I can see it now. Just talking to you for the next 5 minutes, I can see that you're a great negotiator. Like,
I'm not going to be sitting there like trying to be CEO, CFO, nothing like that. I'll go for technology before I go for those positions, because I can't do none of the shit that y'all do.
Exactly, and I think that's what's so great about it. Is like everybody in the family understanding that, okay, I'm gonna acquire this amount of knowledge, and I'm gonna apply the knowledge that I have and the skills that I have into building something, and we're building it as a family. That's the way I'm going that direction, where I'm saying, like, if we were to build with our family, we will build generational wealth easier. You know what I mean? And this is why I'm thinking it's like a whole generation of a family that worked together and they were able to build. This is a family that the name holds power. I'm not even talking about the money. It's just the power. Is what they've done together, what they've built together. It's
money and power go together. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, money buys power.
There is no one without the other.
Yeah, money buys power. You need money to buy power. You know. But
once you have money, power comes along with it.
Exactly, but I guess not always. You know, because I've seen people.
That is a fact. Brother,
I know.
Money wields power
in America, but I've seen people in certain position who did not have the amount of money, but they have something else going on for themselves. They have this level of knowledge, and they're able to trick everyone. That's called scamming. You know what I mean? You can literally scam a whole group of people and not even have no money and grow into having money from that situation, like spreading an illusion. So sometimes it's not always the case, but money definitely buys power. Like, but powers can be acquired a different way.
But the scam got the power. He got the money.
The scam is the money. It's the currency. Like I'm saying, like the money as it is, it's not always the power. Because I've seen people take on position that they did not deserve. Like, because they didn't even have the money, and everybody just looking at them and giving them that attention because of a certain charisma that came out of them because of the knowledge and what they pretended to know, and sometimes it's not even true, and the whole people followed because you know what I mean. Like, it's not always the case that money will give you the power, but money definitely in America.
That people take on positions that's not deserved. That's called connections.
Exactly.
That's nepotism and connections. That's the world. It's not what you know; it's who you know.
Exactly.
Majority of people in the world
Let me get some nepotism,
majority
bro.
people, right? Look, Ty's gonna have control and power and money based on nepotism. But he's working for his though. But what I'm saying is, majority of people in the world, they sit in positions because of who they know, not what they know.
Exactly.
You know how many people? Look, I was on Wall Street for 17 years. You know how many dumb motherfuckers I sat across from?
I agree.
Here you go. And so coming from the nepotism part, right, and building off of what you were just saying, like I saw him on Wall Street. I had no mindset towards money, Wall Street, all that type of shit like that. But then my mindset was, all right, I do something, but it's not directly with that. So what can I do to actually build to get inside of that type of situation? And my shit was, oh, well, I could write code and like I'm an engineer and I could do this type of stuff. All right, fuck it. Let me see how does it help the greater situation in that? Right now, who's the horse? He's the horse. Once we actually and he's building up that particular part of the let's say for instance the family's coming together and there's everybody's doing their own shit. But the moment that he rises to a level that's above hill, right? Everybody has to consolidate under him to make sure that we can hold him up and make sure that he can stay in that position. Yeah. But the people who can do so, like my thing is, all right, what skills do I have to be able to help out? If I ain't got none, I shouldn't even be in the fucking fight. In the stream of things, I'm not living off of his name. So my thing is, I'm going to do my shit to prove that, hey, like, okay, look, I'm doing this, but I'm not bringing in enough money. So I was like, all right, so what can I do to put myself in a position to prove that I can at least run with the fucking with the rest of the big dogs and all that type of stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, boom. Not only am I going to raise up my education to be able to try to help out, but then also look at what he said I had to deal compete with. Just a minute ago, I was only at 56,000. Now I'm looking at 200,000. And next year I'm looking at 250, and then a year after that, because each and every sequence that I'm doing is to be able to build up to be able to say, I can run with y'all.
I think every man should be thinking like that though. Like if you're a man, then you should know that okay, I gotta build my own. But there's nothing wrong with you building your own and working with your family. You can still be working with your family and still build your own on the side. Like what I'm saying, like. But
there's motherfuckers that's directly with him right now. That's like, yo. Like you should be giving me money because my failing business is like just help a nigga out. I'm like, the fuck?
Oh hell no! Like it's not how it's gonna work. Like because it's like you allow what you allow. It is what it is. If you allow it, then it happens. If you don't allow it, and then you change, you put rules in. Like law and order is needed in any community. So it's like if there is law and order in the way you running your shit, then nobody can take advantage of you. Then you building a community. But if you can build that community with your family, it's good. It's like to me, it's fulfilling. It's fulfilling because I'm a Muslim man. You know what I mean? And then it's all about our foundation. So building with your family is fulfilling. It's been seen as the best way to build a civilization for years and years. Like people in the past all built. Like in Africa, they built with their family. They got big. Like the kingdoms you go.
I like
a bunch
the way
of people
I
in the
see
family.
that.
You know what I mean?
Like they got whole households.
Yeah.
Families like people in the family all together, like
all living in
the same house. Big ass mansions and shit.
They might have different houses.
I like that shit.
But it's just one big land where like I lived in New Hampshire with some freaking hippies, the white people. They own the whole city. It's called Henniker. Mm-hmm. Like it's houses on houses. All the people that live there is their friends and their families.
Now here's the funny part about that. We got a whole street. We got a lane. We got a farm. Nobody want to live there. Well, you wouldn't want to live there. It's in the middle of the country and shit, right? But the thing is, like, still we have all that. They got a place like in certain parts of my family. It's a place to go to. Now I got another side of my family. Somehow, some way, all of our assets are gone. Either they were stolen by fucking wives.
Women. It's all from women.
The root of all evil.
Talk about it.
I mean, if you study history, wars were started because of a woman, and they were demolished.
Helena.
Because of a woman.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, we do a lot for women.
But it's like,
A weak man will sell his soul for a woman.
Exactly. So how do you think is this something that we can remedy? Because I think we're still thinking like that. Like a lot of people let a lot of stuff collapse because of women. So it's like, how do you think we can remedy? Like what are we missing in our community? It's a question for you, bro. That we can control our women, so we don't have to blame our women, but control our women.
We have a serious problem. I don't even know where to go, how to begin. But
Wait.
I mean,
bro, hold on. You heard that laugh, right? I think we got to refer to that laugh real quick.
No, it's just
What's the
funny.
mindset? I want to hear this.
Say what went on your mind? Like,
Here you go.
No, wait.
What were you thinking?
Why did you laugh?
So do you let me ask you a question, like before you answer, bro. One second. Look, let me ask you a question. Do you see yourself like a feminine woman, or do you see yourself as a feminine?
I'm not. I think I'm a guy's girl, not a girl's girl. Just because I was more raised by my dad, my uncles,
Oh, she
male
don't fit.
cousins. What?
We can't even talk to her about this
what's a
shit.
guy's girl?
She already on our side. Like,
In a way, like I think I know the male's perspective a little more just because of that.
She was raised by a man.
Especially not only that
Yeah.
I was raised by men, is that I had no woman raising me and teaching me like feminine values. I did have, my babysitter. I consider her my mom, but Latinas are very submissive to their men, and they are like the king. You know what I'm saying? Like her word. She had to basically have approval from him for whatever their beliefs was, whatever you teach the kids, stuff like that.
that's the way it's.
the
To
way
be
it's
honest with
supposed
you, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. The
So
man
even then, I
sets
was
the
still
values, and then the women keep the values going.
Yeah.
Because he's going to go out there one day. Back in the day, he's going to go out there one day. He's going to pass. He's going to die. Like,
So
and
you were raised with men. So how do you? Who's teaching you how to be a wife?
How to be a wife? That's not the goal. That's
Why?
not.
Why is it not the goal?
Because if you're talking about just like getting the government involved in my relationship, that's never been the goal. Being a good partner to
second.
someone.
Okay, 1 second. So I don't understand where the government came from.
Marriage, that's a legal contract between you and your partner.
Okay. Oh, so that's why you're saying the government.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, there's no need to do that. If I'm gonna be a partner, I'm gonna be a partner. We're gonna be together. I don't.
So you just want to live with someone and cohabitate for the rest
I
of your
mean,
life?
if that happens, it happens. I'm not like necessarily against it, but it's not like I need someone to teach me how to be a wife. I know how to be a good partner.
Can I talk about that real quick? I see.
What is your reference? What is your reference?
Probably just like my experiences of seeing other people and
it's big in their culture also.
yeah. Like
Okay. So for example, 1 second. So if you ask me what is my reference of being a man, a husband, a provider, protector, provision, is my father. I was raised with a mother and a father, clear, concise roles of what they do. My parents sat down with me when I was younger and they said, look, if something happens to me, your father, you're the next man up. So I have a reference. What is your reference?
Well, my dad taught me how to be a good person. He was a very wise man. He taught me, don't cheat, don't steal. There's no point in doing things if you're going to do it, wrong. So I think that makes me a good person, which would make me a good partner. He taught me to be understanding, patient,
Let me just add.
No,
let me just add
it's
to
on the
this
right
wisdom.
path.
Yeah, we're on the right path. But let me just add to this wisdom. Like, do you not think that a man can teach a woman to be a wife?
No.
Like the
How
father?
can a man is a man. A man is a husband. He ain't a wife.
Yeah, she's gonna
a
go out
woman
with
teaches a woman how to be a wife.
he
Not a
more than
man.
anyone knows what should be a good wife.
But
Hers is
No, absolutely not.
if we look at it this way, then you know that the father, for the daughter, the father is like the first reference. That's all she look for. That's all she always gonna be looking for in a man.
But there's some things within
So,
femininity that can only
I know
come
that
from a woman.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. She
The
gonna grow
mother-
up with
Like
her
we will
friends.
be missing
Mother
those.
So-
is the teacher. The mother is the teacher.
Let me-
Look, the way the family is
Not always, my friend.
this as opposed to man.
Sometimes a regular woman that's not even your mother can play a mother's role in your life and show you like that feminine side.
Yeah, and that's what she was referring to with the nanny, right? You said your nanny was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so
She had the nanny.
A man cannot teach a woman how to be a woman. That's impossible.
But I'm learning from him, from them, from my uncles, my cousins, my dad.
She had a substitute.
What they don't like as a wife, in turn
As a
teaching
wife,
me
not a woman.
how to be a wife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
See,
agree.
because here's the funny part about that part too. With what she's saying, like she has, and what I heard was this: she had a substitute, which was her nanny, which that gave her those feminine qualities that she could see to learn from. So she saw an example of a good woman, and then on top of it, she wasn't void of having, like how in a lot of situations where they're void of having any man whatsoever teach them the right way about going about being around and being with and understanding the male aspects of the mindsets, which soon as truthfully, usually every time I hear a woman give good mindset towards men, every time I hear that shit, usually they have like either a good uncle, a good well, no, I'm gonna started with what it should be, a good father, or like they raised their brothers, or they like had situations where they have males that they actually had to love, and because they loved them and it wasn't about a sexual situation coming back and forth on them, they got to actually really see and understand what it is to have that the masculine aspect in their life as well.
But
in their life as well.
When you add to that wisdom, like when you think about it, God will always send people, like, because that's why you have a family, regardless of you not growing with your mother. Like me, I didn't grow up either with my mom or my dad. I wasn't blessed to have that. But I can tell you, my community was like a father and a mother for me. Like, and then some of the people, my uncles will like I said, your uncle will teach you to learn how to get criticized. If you don't have an uncle or brother, then nobody has criticized you before. The moment somebody's criticized you, you're gonna quit. You know, you need to be able to take criticism, and then your uncles will help you do that. And then your grandmother, she will come. The grandmother will show you more. From my experience, of what it is to be the feminine love will teach the kid more what's feminine is than your own mother. Because usually your grandmother is up to more, especially if it's a grandmother that raised her family and all the way and never really divorced. They have 56 years of marriage, so she know how to be a wife. Like, to me, it's like I feel like my sister, based on what she says she learned more how to be, a woman from my grandmother than she learned from my mom. My mom, she left us, I was like 7.
That's understandable.
Yeah,
I come from a nuclear family.
Yeah.
A mother, a father, my grandmother, and my grandfather, and on both sides. So I literally have had the perfect raising, okay, for my first 20 years of my life.
Which is great. Which is what we should be all fighting for to have.
Yeah, that's the problem with the today. There's no foundation. Your family, the black family is dissolved. There's no black family anymore.
Exactly, and that's why I was saying that, going back to trying to build this black foundation, I was like, we should be working with our family, because this is how we repair this, and this is how we build generational wealth. And
so
this is what I was speaking about. Like,
it has to be like what the new nuclear, because like what I keep saying is what is it? Not the greatest generation. They dropped the ball. Like the connections that we had that were like, well, I'm gonna say within the black community in America, the connections that we had that were like, I don't even think they were hanging out a shoestring at one point. Everything was connected and good and together. And then all of a sudden, it was like mid 90s, like when Freaknik was at his highest.
Nah.
Like all of a sudden, like the grandmothers died and they dropped the ball.
Black family? Nah, it was dropped the ball long before that. It was in the 70s, man. 60s and 70s.
Yeah, that was the start.
The byproduct, that was the start of it. Now that's why you got all the single black women, single black mothers, and guess what? In all the 80% of black, all the 80% of guys in jail, black men in jail, come from single mothers.
Mm-hmm. And the studies show that for the other situation, if the children were raised by
If you're
a
raised
family
in a
member, or
sick-
like by a mother and a father,
and
right?
the father,
If it was,
you're
or
gonna
if
be
it was
a
just the
successful
father,
per-
yeah,
you're more exactly.
it's the same
just the
as being
father.
raised by a mother and a father in a
mother
household.
And a father.
And
Yes.
it's the craziest
So-
thing. Like, so is that saying that what they've been saying for years is that a father, a household with just a father, would like produce like just a bunch of killers, and that these people are like, it's weird as fuck. But they've taken all of like the with the court system and everything like that. They've taken all the power away from the
How you
fathers.
destroy this? How you destroy a nation of people?
Yeah.
You take the father out. That's exact. Look,
Yeah.
our people are lost. Why you think you got all these young men? They're catty. They act like women. They're emotional.
Yeah.
I see it more out here than I do
Why
over
you
on the
think
East Coast. But
so many black men are in jail because they react on the emotions because they're raised by women.
Exactly.
because their initial teachings is of just mainly just
From
women.
a woman.
So
Right.
like they don't have the mindset of like I remember when like it was a situation where we're playing football and I saw this one kid, right? His fingers was broke, all that type of stuff, and like all of a sudden out of nowhere his father said, "Get the fuck up. Come here." Taped his fucking fingers up and said, "Get back out there." And I was like, "Oh shit. Hold on. I'm supposed to be like that?" And it affected me because I was like, I can't let him be harder than me. Like, but at the same time, I'm like, yo, his pops was on another level of training his boy to be even stronger than like
Yeah, I don't like. I'm not just like
the rest of the men on the team
like,
or the boys
let me
on the
just
team.
Add to that wisdom, I don't like. It's cool. Like we gotta be strong physically, but I feel like we also need to teach our children to be strong mentally.
That is a
You know
mental
what I mean?
strength.
Like,
That's mind over
Oh,
matter
that
right
is
there.
mental.
That is mental strength.
That was-
You
that
gotta
was mental
push
strength.
through. That's mental strength. Like whenever you fall, look, listen. This dude is a soldier. Ty is a soldier. Look, he fought for his life. He fought for other people's lives. Look, I've never done that, but I've played football for a long time, and I'm a professional cyclist. Listen to me. I push
Man's
my
done
body
everything.
through pain and agony. Guess what?
You
It's
see
all
what I gotta
mental.
compete with?
Yeah.
I'm lazy in comparison. I'm fucking lazy in comparison.
No, I told him. I don't know if you heard me. I was like, this man's done everything.
Yeah, I think it's to me it's like I'm not saying it's strength, but it's more like learning how. Like I'm just saying we need to teach our kids to be more intellectual and then learning how to eat properly. Like so a lot of parents I feel like they're more like babysitters. You know what I mean? So I agree with that. Yeah, I would. That's not definitely something I've done this shit. Like I have a son and a daughter. So my son I've pretty much like been in a situation where we were playing. He's riding the bicycle. He fell. I was like, get back on that bicycle. Let's go. You know, because now you're teaching them value. But I'm just saying like what I'm saying about that. I'm just saying like teaching our kids to be violent. That's what I was going towards to. Like I don't think teaching our kids to be violent is the solution. We need to teach our kids to learn things and be more intellectual and make their mind more curious. And then really it goes back to what we eating, because we're not eating stuff that's feeding our brain. We're not eating things that's feeding our body. It's like I feel like as fathers, right, especially black fathers right now, we have to study a lot because we need to go back to where we used to be as far as like having the right level of knowledge. Because if you don't have knowledge of self, how can you teach knowledge of self to your children? You know what I mean? Because I've seen.
I agree. I agree with you because guess what?
Yeah.
I've ate clean all my life. That's what I was taught by my mother. And guess what?
Exactly.
My son does not. My son, I don't eat meat. I don't have a plant-based diet. My son has a plant-based diet. Guess what? I'm an athlete to this day at my age. My son, he boxes. Guess what? He used to be ranked MMA, a world ranked MMA fighter in the top 20 as a child. I'm not teaching him violence, but I guess what? I'm teaching him combat.
Yep.
So now I prescribe to the situation of you need to teach them violence. I think in the situation of you need to teach them extreme violence so then they know where they can go and that they don't need to use it. So then the next step is understanding how to
think you need to
control
teach
the
them
situation.
discipline, not violence.
Oh, you
bro.
cut me off. Because I was building towards that. Like the whole situation of teaching the violence is the discipline. Like the thing about it is once they get to a certain level of understanding what it is and what's capable, what hurts and what doesn't hurt, why you can do this and what, like there comes a confidence of not only of controlling yourself, but control over the world, control over the situation of life and creation and destruction. If you don't know how to channel that energy of destruction, you automatically lose because you could only understand destruction. Once you actually understand how to channel the energy of destruction towards creation, it's a whole different situation now. It's a whole nother level. And once you don't think about the fears that you have to worry about with destruction after a while. You don't have to worry about another man and their abilities of destruction because you know what you can do also. And then what happens is now you walk in the world with a whole different mindset towards what is and what isn't. And then so now your fears, I'm gonna say and this is where I go back towards the boys, but the fear is not there anymore towards what needs to be moved towards. So now you got a bunch of men who actually understand how to channel destruction towards creation. And then you now have a higher level of concept, a higher level of thought. This is in all the martial arts. All of the martial arts.
That's what I was about to say. Like, this martial art is like, but they're not teaching violence. They're teaching discipline. Martial law is not to teach you violence.
You have to teach the violence before you teach the discipline.
Yeah,
you have to
listen. Like,
while teaching,
and this is what I was raised in.
Creates discipline.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
at the end.
Yeah, what I'm saying is.
Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is like, not saying like teaching violence the way it comes out. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm just trying to rectify the word so that it's not misconceived.
Oh no, like, I mean it exactly the way I say it. Like, I mean it exactly. I can't have you rectify my words. Yeah. I can't have you rectify my words. I mean it exactly the way I say it. Yeah, you have to understand violence before you understand discipline, because the other shit is weak after that. Before
but martial art isn't teaching you violence though. Martial law is teaching you discipline.
I'll say we agree to disagree.
I'm a black belt in karate. My dad is a black belt. I grew up. My dad put me in the middle of it. Like I've been doing karate since I'm a kid, and I can tell you that like martial law does not teach you to fight. It teaches
Shotokan, Kempo, Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu.
It teaches you not to fight. It teaches
brown
you not
belt,
to fight.
purple belt, black belt, white belt in Dagon Judo, and then mixed martial arts. And then I've been doing that shit for the last before I actually got hurt. And I got a couple of trophies within the Army when I was doing it. I get where you're coming from. Yeah. You have to. Here you go. Truthfully, if you don't have violence, you only going to be occupied. That's the reason why we fucked up in the first place. Because we were not strong enough to stop them from coming into our areas and doing the shit that they did to us. Yeah. Being a part of their nation and understanding where they come from now, I fully understand where we fucked up.
Do you understand that what you say could also be seen as like, I'm going to teach this kid violence and teach him no other values, and it's just going to be violence? And
no, that's your misunderstanding of what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's
because
what I'm saying.
No, that's not what you're saying. What I said was you have to understand the creation and destruction energy. You only could get to creation energy through destructive energy. I get that you don't understand what I'm saying, but it's cool though. But I'm gonna have to agree to disagree with you.
Yeah,
because I'm not gonna let you change my words on this one. I can't let you change my words on this one.
Yeah, I just feel like I agree to disagree at this point. Like, to me, it's like, well, I'm gonna give my opinion out of it because that's your opinion. And
yeah,
we differ in opinion when it comes to that. I agree with teaching the kid martial art and learning discipline and a lot of other things help discipline, like musical instrument and all that stuff, so they can learn the focus and discipline. But I don't really agree in that term of saying I'm gonna teach my kids violence, because that, I don't know, it could go either way. It's a risk, you know what I mean? It could either be it could either be that you learn from this violence and then you learn not to use it, or it could turn you into this person who's just gonna use violence which is gonna affect everything else in your life. Like that's the way I'm seeing it. I'm not seeing it as
you wouldn't teach your son how to use a weapon?
Yeah, of course. I'll use him how to teach a weapon, but I'm not teaching him how to use it violently. I'm not teaching him violence. I'm teaching him discipline.
The weapon is a violent situation, though. Like, if you don't teach them how to actually use the weapon properly, you're only teaching them to be handicapped in a situation in which violence is necessary. It's good and evil is good. It's a yin and a yang for a reason. There's ups and downs. If we don't appreciate the downs, we'll never appreciate the ups. It's there for a reason. Like, if we do, like I said before, if we don't understand how to harness the destructive energy, then there's only destructive energy. That's what I keep building towards.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just disagree with saying that I'm gonna teach my kids violence. That's the word. Maybe it's just the wording of it that I disagree with. Like, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't disagree in teaching your kids skills that they need to protect themselves.
I get that part. Like, that, because it's that particular situation right there is trying to police somebody's words to make it feel more comfortable for them to be able to be consumed. And really what it really is this: there's fear in the words themselves, which they mean something for a reason. And for me, I have a big trouble with today's situation, in which, especially in America, where they constantly change words to mean something else, or they take this situation in which, because it makes them feel a certain type of way, that the word should not be used, or should not be said, or should not be ranked in a way in which it is. A man is a man, a woman is a woman. Well, I'm not even going to go there. That's not even where it should go in this situation. But violence is necessary, and only the situation of having the confidence and knowing that violence is a way of being able to be done, used, appropriated in a way in which you can keep what's yours. Yeah,
as long as you're protecting yourself, using that to protect yourself. That's what I'm saying. The main idea is teaching maybe discipline in violence or something, but teaching somebody violence can go either way. That's what I'm saying. Like, it could be risky. You might create another Hitler by teaching somebody violence. And be like, yo, this is violence, and all I'm teaching you is violence. Like, that's why I was like.
But Hitler wasn't even a violent man.
That's what I was gonna say. I didn't want to say it. That could get you canceled.
He wasn't a violent man. Yeah, it will get me canceled, but I don't give a fuck. Like, I understand my knowledge, so I could care less. Like, he was an orator that knew how to stir the emotions of the people. And
exactly.
And he just. Go ahead, because
No, I'm just agreeing with what you're saying. Go ahead.
And then he had an ability, not only such a strong ability to grab the hearts and the minds of his nation, he had the ability to also make them execute. He was a bad man in what he did to the people that he did fucked up shit too. That was fucked up. He deserved. I don't know if the motherfucker dead or not, but he deserved what he got. But if we deny the ability of what he was, which everybody in the let's say in the intellectual community, everybody in the intellectual community understands that motherfucker was a beast when it came to speeches, when it came to his political prowess and all that type of shit. They look, he was a fucking beast. But past the point of him being a beast in his ways of being able to get into the minds and hearts of his people, he was a fucking evil ass motherfucker.
Yeah, it was a very powerful man, but then again, he didn't.
All dictators are, because all dictators at some point before they get to their extreme power, they gotta appeal to people's weakness with their hearts. They gotta remember. So if I'm a dictator, I gotta appeal to your soft side somehow, so you can get me in, so I can put me in control, in the power.
And that in itself is violence. That's violence. That's mental violence. Like, for me, I feel like mental violence is worse than physical violence, because you could fight somebody and y'all be cool after. Like, I grew up in Africa.
That's just psychological manipulation. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we can't say that Hitler was not a violent man. Maybe he might have not used his hand. It doesn't make him not a violent man for doing the things that he did.
He made people do violent things.
Exactly.
He didn't do it himself.
Exactly. Which makes you a violent man. So now you're even more dangerous, because now you're even more violent than the violence that was done. Because now you channeled your godly energy to do violence. And then there's not a good reward for that. You don't end up well doing this kind of things. That's what I'm saying. Like, So I do classify him as also being violent. It doesn't take him. It's like, yo, you a witness to a crime. You see something happen, they're gonna arrest you as a witness. You're going down with the person, you know. If you, because we don't snitch in our community. So if like my cousin has been in jail for the longest time for a crime that he never committed. Like somebody else killed somebody. He's been in jail for it. You know what I'm saying? It makes him you with the criminal. It makes you a criminal.
I'm snitching.
You know, you snitching?
I'm snitching.
I'm snitching.
I don't give a fuck no more.
I feel like this culture, like the street culture over here, like it's all about not snitching.
Nah, man.
If
I witness a man take another man's wife and it ain't in self-defense, yo, you should go to jail for it, man. Honestly, I personally believe an eye for an eye. You should die.
Yeah. So what if your actions of snitching, like let's say it's part of a gang, you know, it's a gang, like, and you snitch and they come after your family.
It's either one or the other thing. Well, if he come after my family, man. Woo, that'd be good. Like I truthfully feel a majority of these street dudes that's out here claiming to be street dudes, they ain't really ready for war. Ready for war. Like if anybody puts real war on me and or my people in particular, I particularly will sleep in the bushes just to make sure I can get your ass when you wake up the next morning. I'm ready for a situation. Like truthfully, I heard people talking about
let the National Guard come in, get some.
That's what I'm talking about right now.
Cover.
That's what I was just about to say. I had one of my friends sitting there telling me, yo, the hood is ready for war. They ready for this, that. Like, oh, they'll do. Listen, you're not ready for the shit that these motherfuckers have in preparation for if they want to take us down at all.
They don't even know what it is to be true. Look, I sit in a chair. Oh, no, sorry. I sat in a chair in which I can watch you do whatever you do 10 miles away and still have my finger on a trigger that can kill you and the rest of your peoples on a regular basis. I no longer have that job, but that was a reality for me for a while. I have a situation that I was in at another time where, okay, no, but it's situations that I'm gonna say the average citizen is not ready for, and damn sure people who come from where I came from are definitely not ready for. No,
they are not ready for.
None of these gang dudes, and majority of them, they don't even know how to hold a weapon properly, let alone be in combat. Are you kidding me? Come on. Like mentally, they're not even ready. You know what Marines, Air Force, Armed Guard, or the Army, all these, you know what these guys go through in basic training, all that stuff, and man, please, they wouldn't survive.
Here, go look. They call special forces personnel force multipliers, right? So you got one man who could join one other army, right? Somebody else's army. That one man, you put that one man in their army, in a whole army, and it makes it as if they're already like 2 to 5 times the people that they were beforehand. That's just one man. So imagine that one man gets put out here trying to bring down a disturbance in this area. They didn't call special forces. They called the National Guard. Motherfuckers that's sitting at home. The moment that they call groups, one of those groups, they can take 12 people, drop those 12 people here. They can separate themselves and then embed themselves in different situations out this bitch, and everybody who's a problem disappears. And we won't even know why.
Yeah, just be gone.
And them motherfuckers be sitting there with a cloth over their face and water poured on their face, talking about who sent you. I never want that feeling ever again. I'll tell you now, I never want it again. Fuck y'all.
You gonna get canceled, bro.
Fuck y'all. Y'all know who I'm talking to. Fuck you. Y'all are having fun. It was supposed to be training. Fuck you. If you watching, fuck you. So anyway, yeah.
So, like I'm saying, like, yeah, I'm just gonna go back and then I'll just make a one reference with like when the Muslims were going through, you know, war, and then they were persecuted by Mecca, and the Prophet did not want to fight because he said he didn't believe that Islam should be spread by the sword. But one of the biggest disciple for the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ at the time was like one of the biggest soldier of the whole area. Like it was a knight.
Mhm.
You know, everybody was scared of him. They trembled just by
I got a
his name.
wide peripheral, so like when I'm looking
Yeah.
at look at your direction, I'm really looking at you.
They trembled just by hearing his name. So when they were persecuted once, and then they came and killed a lot of their women, and then he went and told the prophet that are you gonna let these people just come and kill us? Because you know I'm the strongest soldier, and then I could train all these people, and I could give you the strongest battalion from all, because none of them were trained to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So the prophet was like, no. Then he went on a retreat to the mountain, and he came back and said, God said persecution is worse than slaughter, which is the code that most Muslims live by. Like, that's why they have no fear. That's why they don't care to die. So when he came back, and then they trained all these soldiers. It was like 100 of them. And then they went to war. It was the battle is called the Battle of Badr. You can look at it. It's called BADR. So like 100 people went to war with the ascent, because all these people had found the God in them. You know what I mean? So they were fighting for a cause. So 100 people was able to slay thousands of people at a time. So it just brings me back. You saying they not ready for it. Like I'm just saying, like maybe they're not ready, but if God had a plan to make this the situation where people have to go to war, those people will be ready for it if they were on the side of righteousness. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like I can't say that people are not ready for something. I also don't never like to underestimate my enemies. You know what I mean? Also, like I just like the worst thing you can do is go into a battle with somebody and then underestimate the enemy.
Oh no, this is an underestimation.
So you know for sure that they can't fight, but you haven't tried to train them to know that they can't fight. With
They
you.
won't. It's not that they won't. It's the movement in which they actually already do, in which they don't actually have the full the connection or the communication to actually do so right now, and that's where the problem lies. It's already fractured. The warriors are gone, a majority of them, and because of that, also the men are gone, and then also on top of that part, the mindset of building a man towards being able to be ready for a war that would actually happen. You got to be ready for a war of attrition with this situation, to be fully starving and fully in a situation in which you have no outs and that you're ready to actually have everybody die, and that's not going to happen with these people.
I mean, there's a difference
Yeah,
between
and that goes back to fight or flight
yeah, and
right there.
yeah, I think there's a difference between a warrior and a soldier. I feel like maybe we do have warriors, but we don't have soldiers, like in our community. Because a soldier is somebody that's willing to take order and fight for a cause. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't think we have any.
Yeah,
Period.
Yeah, we don't have soldiers in our community. Like maybe.
No, we don't have any warriors or soldiers in our community. Period. We have nothing but sheep.
Yeah. I think it's like more than, I think it's more than your community. I think it's probably like all across America. Everybody is almost like a sheep, and
I mean, yeah, in the world in general. I mean, look, all this people talking about entrepreneurship and this and all that. Majority people in the world are meant to be worker bees.
You need another Red Bull?
Majority people
Hey,
in the world are supposed to be told what to do.
Oh, you took it out.
I did.
yeah, I guess most of these men also. That's what I'm saying. They can't take it. They can't take having people tell them what to do, which is the problem. That's why we can't build soldiers. Like we have a bunch of warriors and no soldiers. It's like a warrior might have the quality of like is courageousness, long hair. That's what the warrior was seen as. Like you stand up, you have courage, but you could be a warrior and not know how to carry a weapon and be a soldier and fight. You might be a warrior in the way that you present yourself, but you're not really a soldier.
But you also have to understand something also, that everyone is not meant to be saved. Everyone can't be saved.
I agree.
The culling shall happen.
Everyone does not want to be saved. I remember years ago. You remember me, Ty, back in the days? I used to want to save black people.
I just started to get off of it in a way. Like I just got to my last wit of, I guess I'm wrong.
And guess what? I came to the realization. I found out after a lot of working with the community in Mount Vernon specifically. There was a point I was just giving free services to businesses, small businesses, startups, doing their financials and stuff like that, and then trying to teach people financial literacy and stuff like that, young black men. And guess what? Majority of people in the world, they don't give a shit. They only care about what's in front of their face and what's going on tomorrow. They don't care about next week, next month, next year, next 3 years, next 5 years.
You're right. I agree with you. Not everyone is gonna be saved. Not everybody wants to be saved. Like it takes a special kind of people. It takes people who are conscious. Number one, like it takes also being chosen by God. You know what I mean? And God putting His hand on you and then just guiding you being guided, like and shown the right way.
I'm not even talking about that stuff. I'm talking about, look, just having some type of, forget about education, because education is paper. I'm talking about knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah.
Okay.
Knowledge of self.
I know plenty of educated people that are stupid as shit.
That's true.
Then I know a number of people that have zero education, but they're very fucking intelligent.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, look, majority of people in the world, they don't know their ass from their elbow.
They don't have the knowledge, but they don't have the most important knowledge, which is the knowledge of self, knowing yourself and giving value. So
a lot of people they don't care to know it, because you can show, and I'm sure you witnessed it. You can show, you can show people facts, data, statistics, everything, and in front of their face, and they still don't want to hear it.
They're gonna say, "Fuck your facts."
It's like
they're gonna be like, "Fuck you."
And I don't waste my time with those people. I feel like only the guided.
And I'm gonna tell you right now. Sorry to cut you off real quick.
Yeah.
That is easily 97% of the people in the world. Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There is about let's just say 95%. There's about 3 to 5% of people in the world that actually have knowledge, and they actually are up on top of things. The rest of the world, they don't know shit. They don't care about shit. They're living in a bubble.
Exactly. They're just led by.
They're just being.
Yeah, they're just like sheep, and then there's always gonna be a wolf in the middle of the sheep, and then even if he's dressed in a sheep's clothing, you're still gonna know it's a wolf. Yeah, there's always a wolf in the middle of that sheep, but the wolf can't really hide, so you can't really be a part of that community. That's why sometimes you have to restrict yourself from that and go. But then again, like I said, I don't guide the people. Like, this is not my role. But it's like, if I can be out there and then I can be a voice for people to like realize and the learning and giving them the tools that they need to have the knowledge of self, and they still choose to go do whatever they or just disregard what I say, then you're on your own at that point. Like, I'm not really worried about those people, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna also give up on everyone because my perception of it is that these people don't want to be saved. I'm still gonna try to guide and then help the ones who want to, like, and if we all think like that, we all think of leaders, then we can guide more people into it, because God is the only guide. You know what I mean? Like,
people don't want to be guided, man. Look, you know what you should focus on?
People want to be led. I mean, they don't want to be guided. I think nowadays people just want to be guided. Led.
Okay, all right. Semantics. Mm-hmm. All right. Look, you know what my focus on? Yeah. My focus is on my family. Anyone outside of that, I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You build your family, and guess what? You either want to be a part of the problem or part of the solution. That's your choice.
My tribe,
because guess what?
My people.
I'm fucking winning, and I'm going to continue to keep winning.
Check.
Exactly. But by doing the things that you do and keep winning, you might inspire somebody else. Like, it's not even intentional. It's like you might inspire somebody else to to just follow your way. Somebody might just like what you're doing. You know, they're like, yo, this guy's doing some cool time. I'm trying to be just like him. You know what I mean?
Check.
That kind of stuff. You don't really have to. It's how you project it. You don't really have to help nobody because we're not here to guide anyone. We can only do for ourselves because it's knowledge of self. But we can teach knowledge of self by doing it ourselves. And then the guided ones will just do it. You know.
Look,
On that
at
note,
this point in my life, I don't even share information with anyone unless they ask for it.
as you should, brother.
And that's it. I'm like, so for example, like we're on in open airs and we're talking about stuff. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, when I'm out and I'm dealing with people and I'm conversing and mingling, I don't look unless you ask. I'm not sharing anything because most people, they don't even want to hear they don't even want to hear stuff. And whenever you know, and I don't talk about emotions. I'm not an emotional person, as you could probably see. All right, all I talk about is facts and data and statistics. Everything can be looked up. I was on a debate team in college. I'm not an emotional person at all. Okay, show me facts.
I'm the light version of him. I'm literally the light version of him. Like, so where like I got extra logical at one point and then I started pulling it back because it was like a situation of I didn't see people in the situation in the same light of in which I think the average person would probably see him, and then like I saw it in a different way in which I didn't value anything that came from you unless it made direct logical sense. And then after a while I realized I'm missing a piece, and that's the emotion. But
so what do you go by, brother? Well, you go by Curtis?
Jacques.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like your mindset, bro. I like your mindset a lot. You know what I mean? I want you to come out here around here more often and talk to us. You know what I mean?
I'm going to be coming out there soon.
Yeah.
I have one of my clients I'm about to close is Edwards Life Science. So they're in Irvine. So
that's what's up.
This on, like, we might have to cut that part. This on YouTube. Like, we don't give them no clues. we don't want to give them no clues.
We're gonna cut that part anyway because it's not part of the show. Like, we'll cut it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pardon me.
yeah.
We'll take that. We'll take that out. It's cool. But yeah, thank you so much for coming in, bro. We're about to wrap it up. You know what I mean? We appreciate all the knowledge you came and spread out here. You know, you made the conversation interesting, bro. I think that was the best part of the. No, you were the best part. So
we needed to focus more on you.
Let's just wrap up
because you got a whole show. We needed to focus more on you, so we're gonna have to do this again, where it was more towards you.
Yeah.
If you give us, I'm talking to a young lady.
I want to have a conversation with you too next time.
Wait,
talking about you.
With you?
Me?
Young lady, the young lady. Yes, yes, absolutely.
So you know you have to be back now.
Absolutely, come with your A game, A+ game, please.
Okay.
Like this,
we're gonna test you. You're gonna be our guinea pig for the women in the.
She said, "Look, you heard that? You heard that strength coming through? I ain't nobody's guinea." She said that shit quick too. I ain't nobody's guinea pig.
So let's go ahead and wrap up this show, yo. Like, I just want to ask you one last question before we go, so we can just wrap it up. Like, what is like one last thing that you want to leave with all these women out there? Like, what is one thing you want to tell these women out there, like, that you think is working out for you, that you want to share? You, yeah.
I mean, I can't speak for women. I can barely fucking speak for myself. I'm like learning what I'm, how to move, and I don't believe in listening to somebody's podcast and being like, follow them exactly. If anything, my motive is to get you to open your mind, find out who you are, spend some time alone, spend some time in nature, find yourself and be yourself and understand your power and use it. Don't stop following other people is my point.
I like that. That's beautiful. You know what I mean? So we're just going to wrap it up. When you come over here, you tap in with the God, you tune in with the grounded, and this is what we're doing. We're here every Friday at 10 p.m., Sunday around 6. We won't be here Sunday, 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
We're going to be here Sunday, 6 p.m. We'll have another guest for Sunday. So y'all make sure you tap in with us, you know what I mean? One love. I go by the name of Abu. It means I'm the father. And we got God King Zuko here.
My name on everything is high, like I'm high. Gorgeous. HIGH.
Stay high. Stay high out there.
GOR with 2 S's at the end. Hi Gorgeous on Instagram. I think I'm gonna make a YouTube with that to release my podcast. So
hurry up and grab it before somebody
follow
else
me.
do.
Hurry up,
Because they do that shit. You said it now, you better do it tonight.
Yeah.
You got email with it?
I think I have it. Yeah.
All right,
I
you
think
got
it's
it already.
mine. Yeah.
But you just got to put it on the actual page, on your YouTube page before it's too late,
Yeah.
and claim it. Because these motherfuckers will take it. So we're going to raise this up a little bit. Raise this level. I think what I want to do is I want to make sure that y'all understand that we actually have to go through a life with a purpose, and make sure that you understand that it's not only about what you do, but how you do it, and you do the execution to the fullest, because you don't do anything without practicing the way you play. And it is what it is. God King Zuko out.
That was good, yo.
Holy shit! I was not prepared for it to be that long.
I know, it was too long.
It go
that's
there.
the longest podcast we ever had. Like,
Yeah.
it gave me 3
It
hours.
go there.
Because the longer it is, the harder it's going to be for me to cut all this shit. Because